right, welcome on in to another episode of Oh So Curious. Well, DCU Daily on Oh So Curious. As always, we have got a ton of news for you guys. The Oscars just announced, the Academy, that is, just announced that we're going to be getting a stunt category at the Oscars in 2027 at the 100th edition of the Academy Awards onwards. So that's news. We have to talk about, of course, Vincent D'Onofrio, Wilson Fisk in Daredevil. He was asked, what other character would you want to play in the world of superheroes? And his answer was surprisingly not a Marvel character, but a DC character. So we're going to get into that as well. Supergirl, we finally have a first look at the suit, footage of her moving around in the suit, maybe even Lobo. We'll get into all of those images and all the video that is up on the interwebs. And of course, we have some Marvel news. We got to talk about all the new images and videos that they put out for Fantastic Four and the Thunderbolts. We got some early tracking, 3 weeks away. We've got some tracking for what it will do its opening weekend. We'll talk about that as well. Ton of quick hits today. We're going to talk about the Cannes film and lineup this year at the festival. They forgot to include Spike Lee, but then Spike Lee went and announced that he was a part of it anyway, and so that was the whole situation. We'll talk about that and so much more. As always, to do that, we're going to first start off with the news, and then we'll dive into quick hits, then we'll get into all the DC news, and then to finish things off, we will get into the main event, which of course today is going to be the Supergirl stuff. So let's dive into it right away. We'll start with the news intro, and then on the other side, I'll have John join the show, and then we'll kick things off from there.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding.
You're
kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne. I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see cords.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the world needs now.
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
All right, okay, we gotta dive into the news. There's a ton of stuff to get into today. John is here. He's not at his desk right now, but he will be back at his desk shortly. He had to kind of run for a little bit, but while he is working his way back onto the camera, we are gonna just kick things off with the early part of the news. Of course, the Cannes Film Festival lineup was announced. They did it with a press conference, and then they announced the full lineup. They forgot to mention one key name along the way. We'll talk about that in a minute, but of course, some of the big names in competition this year. You got the Wes Anderson movie that's going to be there, Richard Linklater, Ari Aster, all of these big, Scarlett Johansson is making a directorial debut, Harris Dickinson also making their directorial debut. So you've got a ton of fantastic movies. They actually have a full list here if you go farther down enough. Like, look at this. You've got quite a few movies. Eddington from Ari Aster, Richard Linklater with Nouvelle Vogue, The Phoenician Scheme. We talked about that trailer with Wes Anderson a few days ago. And Joachim Trier, I should say, Sentimental Value. You got quite the lineup there. Of course, Scarlett Johansson also, like I said, making her debut. Her movie is doing pretty good, but it's not premiering in competition, but they're saying uncertain regard. Basically, it's out of competition. So her directorial debut, it won't be part of the competition part. So I guess it won't be eligible for like the Palme d'Or and stuff. But then, yeah, you got the Harris Dickinson one there as well. But a bunch of names you recognize, probably a lot of names you don't care for. But a lot of these movies, will get picked up by other distributors and studios for theatrical distribution and such once they play at the festival. So I'm sure we'll be talking about it a lot more in the days and weeks and months to come. Now, the one movie that they did forget to mention on that press conference was Spike Lee's Highest to Lowest, which is going to be starring Denzel Washington. It will premiere at the Cannes Film Festival. And so after the announcement happened, Spike Lee just kind of went ahead and announced it anyway, because, it was like, they told me, they invited me. So it got an out of competition slot, meaning again it won't be part of like the Palme d'Or competition and all the other awards they give out. But Spike Lee posted about it. It looks pretty interesting to me so far. It's actually a remake of another movie, I believe the 1963 Japanese crime classic called High and Low. So you can see the titles are kind of similar. And it was an Akira Kurosawa movie. So those some of his movies are have been very influential, even on George Lucas and Star Wars and so many other things. Shogun, for example, like Akira Kurosawa had an immense legacy on Japanese cinema culture, and a lot of his movies have influenced a lot of filmmakers, including Spike Lee. So making Highest to Lowest, starring Denzel Washington, that's a collaboration we have not seen in quite some time. So I'm excited for that. We've got Manolo in the chat. We've got Caleb in the chat. We've got Monumental Comics in the chat. So guys, if you are already here and watching, I know there's more than just the three of you guys watching. Get into the chat, get involved, and if you're here, hit the like button. We will have John jumping in a second. Caleb saying Richard Linklater still makes movies. I love School of Rock and Dazed and Confused. Yes, he does still make movies, and his movie is going to be at Cannes this year. Manolo saying Grace Randolph reported on the cause of the Batman 2 delays. Yes, we do have that coming up in the DCU Daily part of the show. So yes, Manolo, we will talk about that. And like you are saying, hit that like button if you guys are watching. What's highest to lowest about, Caleb? Well, let me see. Let's kind of go through this for a second here. Let's see. They're gonna have a description for it here. Wow, they got Denzel Washington, Ilfanesh Hadera, Jeffrey Wright, Ice Spice, and A$AP Rocky. Dang. Okay. So it's gonna get a theatrical release with A24, and then it's gonna go to Apple TV. Okay, I remember that there was an Apple TV Plus movie that Spike Lee was working on, so this is the one. That's quite interesting, actually. That is really amazing. As far as the description of the film, it doesn't say much here in the article, but given that it's based on High and Low, the Akira Kurosawa movie, you guys can probably look up what it's about. They're describing it as a crime classic. So I don't know if this is something akin to The Departed, but we'll, I'm sure, find out more in the days to come. Hugo Millie in the chat as well saying hi. Upset since no nether sauce for the third time. No nether sauce for the third time. I don't know what you mean by that, Hugo. But if you are looking for John, he will be back in a little bit. The Batman Part 2, we will be talking about that, as Manolo was mentioning earlier. But continuing on the conversation about Khan, of course, I mentioned that Scarlett Johansson and Harris Dickinson are both making their
I heard my name being mentioned.
Hi, John. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Sorry about that. A little late there. I thought my timing was better, but I guess not. But I have my Post Malone Oreos. I have me. I have a little bit of water, not a lot, but I have these terrible Pop-Tarts. Don't buy these. They suck. Pop-Tarts. How dare you squander the Snickerdoodle reputation? Fuck Snickerdoodle Pop-Tarts. Ruining the Snickerdoodle name. Tisk tisk. Stuff of shit. Like, I'm tempted to just fucking throw them out right now. They're that bad. Like, I took one bite and these are fucking gross.
Wait, did you actually finish any of them? Did you go?
I had like 2 bites of one and then I threw it out. I'm like, I can't even eat this shit. I'll give them to I'll give them to a friend of mine. He eats anything, so I'll give them to him. He might enjoy them. So, but outside of that, I'm doing okay.
Is it the Morbius of Pop-Tarts? Is that what that is?
No, because at least Morbius was like a so bad it's good. This is just so bad it's bad.
It's bad. Well, I was talking about all the Khan stuff. We talked about how Spike Lee has a movie.
Khan, as Caleb said.
Denzel Washington is going to be in it. It's based on an Akira Kurosawa movie called High and Low from back in the day, a Japanese crime thriller, and they're basically remaking it in English. Scarlett Johansson, Harris Dickinson, both making directorial debuts at Cannes. Both of their movies will premiere out of competition, but much like Spike Lee's movie, and so that those are some big names. Scarlett Johansson looking to get more behind the camera, and she's quite frankly earned it more so than most actors out in Hollywood, and I'm excited to see where that movie goes. But John, let's kind of talk a little bit about the world at large right now is dealing with a lot of economic turmoil. We talked about this, I believe, yesterday or 2 days ago. China was considering reducing or potentially completely banning any Hollywood movies playing in theaters in the domestic market there in the Middle Kingdom, basically as a retaliatory measure to all the tariffs that have been levied on them. Which, by the way, the rate keeps going up. Like every day, they keep rising. The president keeps raising the rates. Trump keeps doing that. So the Chinese Film Administration did say they're, as of right now, going to moderately reduce the number of American films that the country will import. And while on the surface, this might be like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. Where we do get a little bit of concern is, of course, some of you guys in the chat will say, hey, what about Superman? What about, Fantastic Four? All the big movies coming out later this year. Well, the Chinese Film Administration, which is like their version of, I don't think, actually, to be fair, there's no equivalent in America, because in America, that part of it's not like the government regulates the film industry in that way. So the Chinese Film Administration, however, they're the censor board. Like, you have to get your film approved by them, and then they're the ones who give you your movie the release date. So if you're Disney, Warner Brothers, you want to play your movie in China, you go to the CFA and hope that they give you a release date and tell you that, yeah, your movie's good to go. So in that process, what they've decided to do is they're like, look, we're going to cut down on the amount of American movies, and we're going to start importing movies from other countries to kind of make up the difference. So maybe like Bollywood movies and movies from like, say, Australia, France, Germany, I don't know, like Japan. There's many other markets, Russia, with that in mind, there are some concerns among distributors. For example, we talked about recently that Thunderbolts got a release date in China, and of course, that's now potentially maybe in trouble, depending, because that comes out on April 30th in China. Will that change? Of course, you also have Warner Brothers distributing Apple original films, F1 with Brad Pitt. That's one that they want to release in China. We have talked about Superman, Fantastic Four, Jurassic World. There's an Avatar movie coming out this year. Now, we talked about the other day, John, that most Hollywood movies these days don't do as well in China as they used to. That kind of those numbers have declined. And even when they do well, the way the rules work in China is unlike in the US and most other parts of the world, where the studios get to keep roughly between 60 to 70% of what the movie makes at the box office, and then the rest of the movie theaters get to keep. In China, the studios only really get 25% of whatever the movie makes at the box office. So you're already getting a smaller chunk of change. But then, I mean, you look at movies like Avatar: The Way of Water. A recent example of every once in a while a Hollywood movie still makes it big in China. That Avatar movie made $246 million at the Chinese box office. That's pretty much like over 10% of that movie's total gross. It made over $2 billion. And recently Minecraft just debuted and it made 14.7 million in its opening weekend. So that's doing well. But John, all of those elements considered, even though Hollywood movies don't make as big of a chunk of the product, let's say, that the theaters in China have to play, they're still a big part of what the Chinese film market relies on to put butts in seats, essentially. And so where do you think this leaves both China in terms of having fewer of these movies potentially coming in, fewer than what was already a pretty limited number, and then also how much is this going to affect some of these big blockbusters, especially like an Avatar, the third Avatar movie? If this last one made 246 million, if all of that all of a sudden takes over 10% of that third movie's box office potential out of the picture, if that movie doesn't get a release. Now, of course, they didn't say they're going to completely cut out Hollywood at the knees. Some movies will still get across, so I imagine the biggest of the biggest might still get approved. But John, what are your thoughts on all of these events that have been going on here with all the changes?
Yeah, I think they might get a little bit of a blow, but then maybe if this really continues, or at least until the next 4 years, that there might be a weird, maybe an optimism sort of thing. Maybe we're going to get some sort of weird boom with the Chinese film industry, because look at Ne Zha 2. I know that's not I know that's just one movie, but that one movie made $2 billion and is now the record holder for highest grossing animated movie of all time. So there's that. And then we were also talking about other movies that China likes, like the Fast and Furious and Transformer. Well, Transformers isn't really a thing anymore, and it with Hasbro not seems like they're not going to be doing movies anymore. In terms of like how they were doing it previously, since Transformers One shit the bed, Fast X made almost just as much money as it did in the U.S. alone. The U.S. it made 146 million. In China alone, it made 139 million dollars.
That's
So
insane.
there is some sort of precedent, but at the same time, what movies do they like? Transformers, Fast and Furious, and Avatar, 3 franchises that don't really need to be going on anymore. Transformers is already kind of out of the picture. Fast X is on the way out. And so what's left? Avatar? You mean the fucking movie franchise that everybody complains about and nobody really wants? So like, maybe it's a good thing that like China isn't giving these stupid shitty movies all of their money, so maybe it might mean something good. Again, that's the optimist in me, but let's hope that that's maybe the case. As you know, Caleb keeps saying, it's just Hollywood slop. But obviously we will have to see about that in terms of how this is going to go long term. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the more glass half full route. Maybe China's gonna get better movies. Maybe we're gonna get better movies that we're not gonna just be like, oh, it made so much money in China because it was slop. So it's like, maybe that'll be good in the long run. So
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see again how all of this will affect the long term trends, because you got to wonder that, because China was already sort of that, but on purpose, the Chinese Film Administration and the government there was kind of weaning the local market off of Hollywood movies, so that they're not so reliant on foreign movies, which for the most part means Hollywood movies. But with this kind of a move, it further kind of closes that second biggest market in the world off to American movies essentially. But hey, I guess that's what a trade war is. So um yeah, John Cena, Manolo, I don't think John Cena wants to apologize a second time to China, but I'm sure he would if he was asked to, but I don't think he wants to. But anyway, we'll continue to follow this story as things develop, and we'll just see. Maybe in a week's time there won't be any Hollywood movies going to China, and then all of a sudden it's just black and white. Like right now, there's a bit of a gray area. They're saying we're gonna allow some, fewer than before, but still a few of them. So chances are the biggest ones that have the potential to make the most amount of money in China, like Avatar, will probably still get through. But then it does hurt some of the other ones, like F1, for example. I'd be worried about. Like Superman at this point doesn't have a release date. Right? Actually, I don't know. It might have a release date. We'll confirm that later. But
we'll see.
Fantastic Four, but Thunderbolts just got a release date. Will that get affected? I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. And when we do, we'll talk about it. But John, speaking of movies abroad, we've been following this story for a little while. I wanted to kind of get your opinion on this because remember how we've sort of talked about before in like a bunch of different studios like Disney, Amazon Prime Video, Netflix have all been making these deals with the French government because they passed a law last year saying that you have to invest a certain percentage of the amount of money that you are spending on releasing movies domestically in France, and you have to reinvest that money in the French film industry. Like it's like a law. Like you can if you don't do that, like you cannot put your movie on a streaming service until 18 months after it gets. I think it was something like 18 months after it comes out in a movie theater. Meaning, like if you put out, I don't know, let's say Snow White, came out a few weeks ago, you wouldn't be able to see that on a streaming service on Disney Plus in France until like 2027, basically at that rate. So one way that studios got around that is by making these deals like, hey, we're going to invest like 50, 60, 70% of the money that we're making in France back in the French film industry. And as a result of France kind of like using that mechanism to get these like favorable deals to boost the local film industry, it looks like the French production has now reached a near record in 2024, which was last year, of course. And streaming, as streamers financing has skyrocketed by 60%. Exactly what I was mentioning. Disney Plus, you have Amazon Prime Video, Netflix, Apple made a deal. We talked about that. What are your thoughts on like this strategy by France of sort of just, forcing the hand of all these companies that all these, largely American companies, but again, in general, just the biggest streaming services out there all now have to reinvest millions of dollars in the local film industry. And as a result of that, the French film industry is doing better than it's, ever has, or like certainly better than it has in years and years. And to the point where I think that there's a new government in Germany now, as a result of elections, and they're looking to do something similar for the German film industry as well, and taking the lead from what France has done. What are your thoughts on this? It's more of a business of Hollywood thing, but I'm like, if you live abroad, if you live in France or Germany, and you want more movies like that represent your country and your heritage, your culture, and your people, then for the French government to do this, it's obviously been very effective, because like you're still gonna get to see all the those movies that Disney, Netflix, Amazon, all of them make, like James Bond, Snow White, anything Netflix makes, like the Knives Out movies, but they're also going to be making more stuff that's local to the market. Do you think this is a strategy that other countries should also be utilizing?
I think it's I mean, I was kind of saying this before with the Chinese thing, where it was like maybe we'll see a boom there, and there's something here. There's like we're clearly seeing a boom here. Um, uh, I mean, many directors, international and non-international, domestic, like American directors, have been saying for years that if you can't get past another language barrier, then that's just sad because you're missing out on like so many amazing movies. And I feel like if like the idea of foreign films, quote unquote, becomes more mainstream, I think that'll be a really good thing. And I think and because of that, they're getting better financing, they're getting better deals, they're getting all this better stuff, and it's like, okay, maybe we're going to be seeing some type of boom somewhere. Maybe not here because Hollywood is on fire and they refuse to put out and they refuse to let it burn, and they're just like, it's on life support, it's just ridiculous. Maybe other countries will see that and be like, okay, let's put a little bit more effort into our stuff, and then we'll be getting some better stuff because of that. And like people that are into foreign films can see that people will maybe get into foreign films and becomes more mainstream. So this, I think, is a very, for the most part, pretty positive thing.
Yeah, I think this is definitely gonna like help. Obviously, it's already helped France. Like the results are there. A 60% increase in financing from the streamers like Disney, Netflix, Amazon. Then also just the near record levels of production being done locally in France. So it obviously is a strategy that works. So we'll have to just see if like I said, Germany or even Belgium and other countries in Europe do that too, because they want to grow their local production. And obviously for streamers it helps them out, because then you're getting to put more content that is locally produced for the streaming service in those regions. Like that's how Squid Game became so popular in Korea, and then obviously everywhere else in the world. Like you see these hits coming from, like Adolescence broke all kinds of records in the UK, but also like internationally it's become a sensation on Netflix. So this just makes for a more inclusive entertainment environment where it's not just dominated by American stories, with all the biggest companies being American, but you get these stories from like France, from Belgium, from the UK, from other countries where we want to see more of the representation. So I think that's really good. Now, on the other side of things, of course, we've been talking about AI. It looks like there's some more news on AI side. This image looks something straight out of Mr. Robot. But Harmony Korine's edgelord, I guess is how you might pronounce that, has entered a pact with the AI company Runway. It's a first look deal which has real implications for creativity, as the debate over the use of AI in Hollywood, of course, continues to rage on. Basically, Runway is like a company that's based out of New York. They are like a generative AI company. They have a lot of tools that you can use to generate everything animated in different kind of like art forms and stuff. I actually used that service a while ago to do, because one of the things that they offered was you can do rotoscoping, which basically means you can like, if I don't have a green screen, you can rotoscope like me, like cut me out of this image, without using a green screen. And so that's a lot of manual work, as you can imagine, doing that frame by frame in video. Whereas if you use their tool, it would do it like more automatically for you. So it saves you a lot of time. So I would use that for that purpose. But Runway has got a lot of other tools, and they even do an AI generative film festival now, and they've created a bunch of stuff using that. They had that whole AI baby faces thing at last year's Venice Film Festival called Baby Invasion. It was done by this company Edgelord, and now it looks like they've got a first look deal with Runway. John, again, it looks like the AI filmmaking is not gonna go away anytime soon, but the way they use the tools obviously varies. The approach varies from company to company. What do you think about this news? Do you like the idea that something like this is continuing to grow? While of course a lot of people are not happy to have generative AI exist
Right.
at all.
Well, first off, I want to say hello to Enterprising because Enterprising just entered the chat. Hello.
Hello.
Second, I think I'm kind of like so on the fence with AI. If like you're using AI to create art and saying it's your own art and selling it, that's scummy because you're not an artist. You're just a guy who inserted a prompt into a thing and an image shit out. Like that's not art. That's you using technology and profiting off of it. That's scummy. However, I do also believe that AI can be used as a good tool for like just like helping out during like an editing process, and I think this, even though, yeah, oh look how edgy we are. We're called Edgelord. We wear weird masks. Yeah, like that's fucking stupid. But this seems like more of like okay AI, where it's like you're using it as a tool. That's kind of like what Brady Corbett did with the Brutalist when he used it for that, like, and then everyone like shit down his throat, and it's like, people have like adjusted voices before. Like, it's like, oh, Brady Corbett used AI to change his voice slightly. It's like, bro, the Alvin and the Chipmunks have been a thing for like decades.
Exactly. That's
Like, come on, that's ridiculous. Uh, so it's like using it like that. Like that's like a tool. Like for instance, like white balancing an image in post. That's a tool. It doesn't use AI, but I'm just saying, like, is that bad? Like, because you're changing something in post. It's like, where's the line in regards to that? That I'm more than fine with, but it's just like that when you're using like a prompt or a technology in place of human creativity, and especially if you're making money off of that, that's lame. That's scummy. So
yeah.
I think this falls into the AI being a tool aspect of like just easier rotoscoping. I'm like, okay, that's seems to be okay
Yeah.
to me at least. I know people are
And
probably
again,
going to shit on me for it, but
and I think like for me, using AI as a tool in your toolbox, one of many, is probably the way to go right now, because AI hasn't gotten to a point where it can really do anything more than kind of, like you said, build on something that was already created. That's what generative AI generally is to begin with. It's literally generating a new image based on the images that you've already fed to it. Which human beings do that, like we call it inspiration. That's another word for it. But it's a blurry line, and we could probably talk about that all day long. But like moving on to the next thing, there are a couple other stories from the world of AI. Fremantle, which is one of those you can call them indie production companies, but they're also pretty big. They do a lot of reality TV, but they've also done a lot of scripted television and stuff. They just launched their own Imagine AE Studios, which is going to harness the power of AI, while of course sticking to very strict intellectual property and compliance standards for creatives. Another company out there that's focused primarily, on making movies and telling stories using AI. your thoughts on just again it seems to be like there's more players coming into the market each and every day at this point. It's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, this seems a little bit more suspicious to me. Again, kind of what Caleb was saying, enhance, not create. Like if you're using it to create, that's like not amazing. So I'm a little bit more iffy on this aspect. And
Yeah.
I don't think that's the way to go, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see again what these companies end up creating. Are we gonna get like movies that are gonna be coming out in movie theaters that are AI generated or something? Like when I feel like we're not too far away from that at this point. But Donna Langley, who's the studio chief at NBC Universal Entertainment and Studios, she actually I think I saw her like when I was working the Olympics for NBC Sports a while ago. She came on campus in Stanford, and so she's kind of like the big boss over at NBC Universal. And she was recently talking about the impact of AI on film and television, saying, hey, it's going to be incremental. A lot of panic was a bit premature, saying that, hey, you got to put your seatbelts on. Things are changing. Clearly, the world we're living in is changing and we have to adjust and adapt. But the panic, I think she's saying, was a bit premature. It's not going to immediately take over all the production. But it is obviously having a big effect, and you could see like not only are there new companies entering the market, but also like companies, the incumbents, as you would call them, like NBC Universal, they're also taking steps to like get ready for this change. So, John, I mean, do you agree that again, there was a little bit of, just panicking too early at the idea that AI is going to take over all of our jobs, because clearly AI isn't quite there yet, but it will get there eventually, I suppose. But it will be up to us to decide what role it plays eventually. What are your thoughts on Donna Langley and what she said?
I think I kind of get what she's saying, but at the same time, don't shit on people for being worried that they're going to be out of a job that a robot can do better, because that's not good. Because like I mean, we were saying like many years ago when the idea of like AI was like a thing of movies, essentially, they were like, well, don't use AI to make our work lives easier, but don't have it create stuff like so we can like use it for art. But here it feels like we're not using AI to make our work lives easier. They're AI is replacing our work lives, so we're out of money. But now it's like, what do we do for a living? Well, I can't do anything because a robot can do it better. So I'm kind of fucked. And then it's just made worse in the idea of entertainment and art, which is also, I mean, we've talked about that a lot already. So yeah, I think it's a whole rigmarole and a whole. I think it's a bigger conversation than this right now, but I do think the panic was a little bit justified because there's a lot of different angles you could take the idea of AI. It's like, hey, I need work, I need money, because that's the fucking society we live in. We need money to like live. And then on top of the fact, it's like, oh, but at the same time, the people that are working these artist jobs and creating and having a vision, well, a robot can do it better. It's like, well, a robot can it? Like, and so it's like both sides, like work and entertainment is being fucked 6 ways from Sunday. And it's like, what's gonna happen now? And it's
Yeah.
like I still remember, and it's funny, I still remember the scene. I don't know if you guys remember this, but the scene from iRobot where like Will Smith is hassling Sonny, the robot, and he's like, well, can a robot make a beautiful symphony? Can they create can they paint a masterpiece? And they're like, well, can you? It's like, that's not the point. It's the idea of like getting our lives slowly taken away and meaning nothing. And we do get to that point of AI just taking every facet of what makes us us, to the point they become more human than we do. them realizing we're past our prime, and then the world becomes Terminator. So
Well,
it's like I don't think that's
yeah,
gonna happen for a long
it's a
time, but
bit.
like I'm just
It's a
saying
yeah.
it's a
That's a bit far
possibility.
away. Yeah, but also I think there's a argument to be made that when they brought robots in to do automation at factories, people were like, "Oh my god, they're taking our jobs." And yes, there were certain jobs that went away, but then also there were other jobs in the service sector, like more people who needed to know how to work with computers. Those jobs came up. So like we've talked throughout history, we've talked about like how people have to sort of transition from working certain kinds of jobs, and as things evolve and technology takes over certain things, and automation takes over certain things, similar to what AI is able to do. Maybe it will just allow us to then be able to make different kinds of movies that we are not able to make so much anymore. Maybe like AI will be doing certain things, like maybe AI will make the blockbusters so the humans could focus on more of that indie filmmaking without feeling the pressure to like make movies that need to be commercially viable. Like there's all kinds of arguments to be made for that. Of course, the future you can't really predict it. So you can speculate about it, but like where this ultimately leads us to, we'll have to find out. As Donna Langley said, look, put your seatbelts on. None of us quite really know where things will end up eventually, but the best we can do is prepare for it and be aware of it, and not take it for granted. And obviously some of the panic was a bit premature, at least according to her. But with that in mind, we're going to move on to some other stories. John, video game movies like Minecraft have been doing better and better at the box office. The Last of Us season 2 is about to come out. It already got renewed for season 3. So even on television, video game adaptations are doing bonkers good right now. And it's at a time when superhero movies aren't exactly doing the best. In a post Avengers Endgame era, there's not that many superhero movies that make the kind of money that they were making back in the 2010s. So this article in the Vulture I found to be very interesting. So I kind of wanted to pose a question to you, because they make an argument in this Vulture article saying, "Hey, video game movies like Minecraft are now replacing superheroes as Hollywood's dominant IP." I would say it's a little premature to say
Yeah.
to say that. But John, how do you feel about that
We've
about that
gotten
assertion? Yeah.
2 major hits in movies. We've gotten Minecraft and we've gotten Super Mario Bros. Now you could make the argument Sonic as well, because those 3 movies combined roughly have made $1 billion. So, but like, yes, you get like in terms of money making, most of them have done fine. But I don't think it's gonna replace it, because like I think we'll have to see in the next 3 to 4 years if like we're getting proper like the real downfall of comic book movies and the rise of video game movies, because I mean a couple hits, like if we look at it, like most of them have not been major hits. I mean good hits, but like if we're talking about it from a money point of view, I mean Sonic, they make money, but they make like 4 to 500 million, which is good. Like, but if we're talking about the lucrativeness that fucking superhero movies did, those movies were making like almost $1 billion, like almost every time. Even like the shitty ones made a shit ton of money. So if like I made a prediction, I could see this happening because it's covering every aspect. You have live action, you have animation, and you have television. So you have the 2 aspects of movies. You have the live action movies that are, for the most, like not counting CGI, we have like Sonic and Detective Pikachu and the upcoming Legend of Zelda. So we'll see how that goes. Then you have animation. This I fucking count as animation, because pretty much like 90% of this movie is CGI.
Well,
And like
you have human characters in there, but yes, I get what you mean.
but it's like Sonic is like humans CGI. This is like CGI human. So it's a little bit different, but like even then you have Super Mario Brothers. Like that was fucking huge. And then you have like prestige TV with like The Last of Us. So it's like we are kind of getting into that golden age of either you're getting really good projects or you're getting projects that make a shit ton of money. Sometimes both. I think Super Mario Brothers is a genuinely great movie, and that made a shit ton of money. Meanwhile, Minecraft movie is dog shit, but it's making a shit ton of money. And then you have something like The Last of Us, which is a TV show. You can't really, it's hard to measure like metrics. Yeah, you get like ratings and like how many people are watching, but like not really in terms of how much money it's making, because it's like kind of like a weird thing to quantify for a television series, but it's critically acclaimed. So I feel like, yeah, I think that's I think we might be getting there. We'll see what the future holds in terms of video game films, mainly films. TV is like to a much lesser extent. So we're talking about movies, Minecraft movies making a shit ton of money. So we'll see. But it seems like because this is making a shit ton of money, and Super Mario Brothers made a shit ton of money, and Sonic was making a shit ton of money, we might be getting to that, you know, yeah, of course. It's but we might be getting to that point. I think we might be getting to that point. We're not there yet. We're not like, it's not a definitive like video games like are definitely I think it's a decent prediction, and I would probably believe that, but I'm not going to say,
I mean,
oh yeah, 100% it's replacing shit. It's like,
it's
let's
also
calm down a bit.
Yeah, like what Enterprising was saying, like I'll believe it when $1 billion, grossing video game movie wins an Oscar. Well, it's not like superhero movies ever got to that point either, at least not consistently, right? So, and it's not so much about winning an Oscar, it's more so I think what they mean here is like dominant IP, like making money. And I think the one simple fact that, quite frankly, is counterproductive to this argument and completely nullifies it is that simply the volume, the number of movies that are based on video games being released over the last 5-10 years compared to the total number of superhero movies, there's a big difference. Like there's still way more superhero movies being put out every year. And when you look at the box office numbers overall, superhero movies in general and as a aggregate total, as well as just on a per movie average, still make a ton of money, at least on par, if not more, than video game movies. Are we seeing more parody than before? Yeah. Video game movies used to be like you're like, oh, we're gonna make a movie based on a video game. Boop. Well, don't expect to make any money. Don't expect it to be good. Now, of course, not every video game adaptation is good, but they're more successful now, whether they're critically acclaimed or not. And at this point, we are also seeing that the superhero genre has been in a bit of a lull the last couple of years. So you combine that lull with like a few video game movies doing well, and yeah, I guess you could, if you were looking at a very narrow sample size, say, as of late, comic book movies, as in superhero movies, are not doing as well as video game based adaptations. But is that gonna be, the rule of thumb moving forward? I don't think we're there yet. If
No.
anything,
Although we
video
are
games trying to
getting
catch up.
5 video game movies this year
Yeah.
alone, so that could mean something. And there's like a lot of stuff that's planned, a lot of stuff that's kind of been in development hell for a bit. So there are a lot more that are coming out. So obviously we'll see, but yeah, it's a decent prediction. I don't think, but as you said, I don't think we are there yet.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's keep going here with the next story we've got to talk about the Marvel side of things. Thunderbolts has got its 3-week tracking now, and it's looking like it's going to open to what they're calling a fair $70 million US opening. It is, of course, a set of characters that are, I guess, not like the most A-list of characters in the MCU. Probably the most high profile character in this movie from the MCU is the Winter Soldier, and then you've got like Yelena, I suppose, is the next one, but everybody else, they were like supporting characters or villains. So it's understandable that this is not going to open to like $100 million plus at the opening weekend. But John, 70 million is not too bad. According to the tracking right now, they're looking at somewhere, the range is 63 to 77. So like if you kind of split that in half, you're talking about like on average maybe 70 million if it kind of lands in the middle of that range. It will make it a movie that kind of lands on the lower end of the spectrum for Marvel movies in general, like the MCU. So by MCU standards, it's not a good number, but in general, I would say this is a pretty damn good number, especially for Disney with what has happened with Snow White, and they aren't having the most success so far at the box office this year, but they're hoping, especially because in a Captain America, even though it had a decent opening, it opened to almost 100 million. It still fell off a cliff after that. So my question to you, John, is: do you think this number will hold? Do you think this number could rise by the time the movie comes out? And then, if you wanted to go off of the opening weekend tracking, where do you think this movie ultimately ends up with its total box office gross once it's done playing in theaters?
I think it'll make more money than Brave New World. It's probably gonna make. I don't know. I could see this making like 600 million, maybe. Maybe not a shit ton, but like 600 to 700. I could see that. Um, because I think people like Bucky, people like Red Guardian. I think that's kind of it. I mean, maybe people like Yelena Belova. Nobody fucking likes Ghost. Nobody likes U.S. Agent. Nobody fucking likes She Taskmaster. And nobody fucking knows who Sentry even is. So and then people remember like the Julia Louis Dreyfus just like there in like Hawkeye and Black Widow just being like, hi. So obviously we will wait and see with this, but like I mean we could say that about everything. But I think that's a decent, fair, okay kind of box office prediction with these characters that aren't really well known, and they're just kind of a grab bag of heroes and villains that appeared in other projects and then are in their own movie together. So
Yeah. By the way, we got more Katna in the chat. Hello, more Katna. Saying Marvel writing Sebastian now that he won a Golden Globe. Marvel love that clout. Well, Golden Globe doesn't give you as much clout as you would like to, as you might think, but yeah, he's certainly one of the better actors that the MCU still has in their stable. So, Caleb saying, from everything I've seen about this movie, everyone seems to love it. Yeah, I mean, it potentially could be the best Marvel movie of the year, or maybe Fantastic Four will be. We'll just have to wait and see. We also have Nelson in the chat. Hello, Nelson. How are you doing today? Right Dude was saying, yeah, in the 90s and 2000s, and even to a certain degree in the 2010s, video game movies used to be the laughingstock of Hollywood. So yeah, I mean, again, video game movies have come a long way. Have they surpassed superhero movies as a dominant IP in Hollywood? No. I think we're still a long ways from that happening, if that ever happens. But as far as Thunderbolts goes, yeah, 70 million is not a bad start. I hope the number rises. It's also, with this movie, what you would want to have is staying power, because we talked about how Captain America 4 kicked off to almost 100 million, if not 100 million domestic, but then it ultimately ended its worldwide total somewhere in the low 400s. It didn't get very far after opening weekend. So with this movie, what's gonna not only matter is how much it makes in opening weekend, but what's gonna matter is how much it makes in the weeks after the opening weekend. What you'd want to see with Thunderbolts ideally is that it opens to 70 million, but then it keeps making money after. Like, it doesn't have a 50 to 70% drop. Like, you'd want it to make 35, 40 million the next week. That's okay. If it drops like 70% or close to it, like Captain America did, like the Marvels did a few years ago, like Quantumania did, that's bad. Like when it drops by over 70% in the second weekend. So we'll just have to wait and see. It's a few weeks away. The marketing has been on point, like you guys were saying. So we'll just have to keep our eyes out, and hopefully we'll enjoy it when it does come out. I will go see it on opening weekend. I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to see David Harbour playing Red Guardian.
Oh, fancy.
Fancy. Speaking of fancy, the Fantastic Four put out a new teaser and a bunch of images to show the team blast off in their astronaut suits. And I want to talk about it because this looks pretty, and pardon the pun, fantastic, John.
Say that again.
I feel fantastic for, if you know, you know. But
I don't know. I'm pretty feeling super, man.
That you could also do that. But the Entertainment Weekly, as you guys can see there, they put out a new motion poster. You can, I think this is the cover of their latest edition in print, and they shot some video with all the astronauts. It looks like these guys are obviously rock star astronauts in their world. They're the only superheroes in their world. So they're getting that kind of treatment. I personally am really enjoying the retro look. You see like the little lights in the background as like the stand-ins for stars on a black I don't know, some kind of like curtain or whatever. Like it's very classic to how things were shot back in the 60s and 70s when everybody wanted to be an astronaut because we were going to the freaking moon back in those days. Uh,
And we
I'm
did.
we
Well,
did.
unless you're
No,
watching
I am
For All
pretty sure that
Mankind.
it did have. Well, yeah. Well, that's an alternate history thing.
Yeah,
But
I'm
John, you
just
look at these photos. You look at how they're obviously playing up the astronaut aspect of these characters. The fact that these guys are
Mhm.
all scientists, and they also happen to be superheroes because they got their powers, which we don't know exactly how, but given the
Cosmic
comics,
rays.
I'm
I
sure they'll
assume
stay
that that's the
close to that.
case.
Yeah. But what are your thoughts? And again, overall, just the images, getting a closer look at. You see here Joseph Quinn as the Johnny Storm. I know you were reading something
I
about
love the laser
Johnny Storm.
discs on the
Yeah, dude,
floor.
laser discs. That's a throwback.
So it's well, I mean, I don't know when laser discs became a thing, so it definitely feels like they're doing they're really leaning into like the whole like the idea of what the future is, but in the 60s, like, oh yeah, laser discs are gonna be the future, like all these other things. So it's like, but it's like sped up. There's like it would be essentially be an anachronism in our world because laser discs didn't come out until I want to say the late 70s, maybe the
Yeah.
80s.
Yep.
And so the idea that this would be the main use of like information or
hmm
entertainment is like that's kind of
Seems to be what
fun,
he's doing
like
there.
playing up the alternate reality angle, making it feel like an actual multiverse saga. That's crazy. This is the first movie that like out of like what this entire fucking 2 or 3 phases where it's like, oh yeah, multiverse, this is supposed to be multiverse shit, right? But yeah, I think that's cool. Like really, because you can. It's a whole sandbox to play in terms of like having a full movie to play around in terms of alternate universe stuff. So like by the end of like For All Mankind, we're like, we're gonna fucking be in like we're gonna reach Pluto and whatever the fuck, and it's just like, you know, I like the idea of like having that futuristic quote unquote technology that to us isn't, but like to them is, and it's like sped up, like introducing stuff for us that was introduced in the 70s and 80s, but in the 60s because this Earth is just slightly more technologically advanced, not totally, but kind of is. So I like that aspect. Again, good thing to play off of. And it came out in 1978, by the way, the Laserdisc. So you could tell that it's like, yeah, this thing that's really 20 minutes too early for us would be right on the spot. So these guys would probably get like, you know, cassettes in the late 60s or early 70s, and then they would get CDs in the late 70s. Like that kind of like I know it's a silly thing, but I like playing around with the idea of like this world being slightly better in regards to technology and how further they got. And then all of it to fucking be destroyed by either God Emperor Doom or Galactus. We'll have to see. So, and these I will say these posters and images posters. I mean the poster, these images all look pretty. And America's daddy, America's sweetheart, there he is. Pedro Pascal, our boy. And it kind of looks like she's holding tablets. If you go scroll back up to Invisible Woman, is she holding like is it supposed
It
to be like
looks
a
like
clipboard or is it
no,
like a tablet?
it's like some kind of portfolio or something.
Okay.
By the way, we got
Okay.
Hosea in the chat. Hello, Hosea. We got Elite Easy E in the chat as well. Elite Easy, hello. Um, Caleb saying my dad believes that space isn't real and Kubrick faked it. Well, I don't know what to tell you, Caleb. Maybe you're the best. Maybe only you can convince your dad otherwise.
Only you
Um,
can stop forest fires. Only you can stop dumbass conspiracy theories that literally don't make fucking sense. So awkward silence. Yeah, okay. I see how it is.
Sorry about that. Moving on to the next thing. Oops, I put myself back on the camera. There we go. I like this poster launching a new Fantastic Four family. I think this is probably the best look that we've gotten at this movie, even though we got a whole trailer. But again, it just kind of goes to show you who these people are and what they mean to the world that they're a part of. A world where no other superheroes exist, by the way. And it's again kind of leaning into that whole vibe of the 60s, the 60s in our world, like what they were like. It's the 60s in their world, but it's obviously a little bit different. But I love it so far. I know Liz is excited for this, and I know we love DC around here, obviously, but we also are fans of Marvel. Of course, we all go to see the Avengers movies, and these guys will be in the Avengers movies soon. But John, there's also a report that supposedly the movie is currently doing a bit of reshoots, and obviously there's plenty of time between now and when the movie comes out. I imagine it's probably not anything too significant. Some of these actors obviously are also in production with Avengers Endgame, or not Endgame, Doomsday. Are you surprised that they're doing reshoots right now? Do you think that's pretty normal considering that Marvel?
Yeah,
does
sounds
quite
pretty
often?
normal to me. I'm not gonna make a fucking huge thing about it because it's like, oh my god, there's reshoots. Oh my god, this thing that's been a part of movies since the dawn of time. Oh my god. Yeah. I think y'all need to calm the fuck down about goddamn reshoots, and this should be fine. Y'all need to calm down. Oh my god, there's reshoots. Oh my god, it's almost like that's what filming does. Sometimes you gotta fucking pick up a
Yeah.
shot. Crazy.
Yeah, like the
Goddamn.
comment says there, this is not abnormal. And I agree. I think right now, with the way Marvel does things, this is just a part of their process. So I wouldn't worry about it too much unless they start spending, like, I don't know, like weeks and weeks doing it. But moving on to the next thing. Hey, Cristiano Ronaldo is teaming up with director Matthew Vaughn to create a film studio venture called You Are Marv. John, you read up on this before the show.
Yeah.
You actually found the story, so you want to talk about what this is all?
Yeah.
What is this all about? I mean, I love Cristiano Ronaldo because I'm a big Manchester United fan.
I
So from
don't.
back
I
in
don't.
those
Here's the thing.
times-
I don't know about anything about that because I'm not a football. I'm not a football, as in actual using of your feet football. But yeah, this. I was just reading about this. I'm like, huh, this is interesting. And to paraphrase my friend, Cristiano Ronaldo made a production company before we got the Batman Part 2. So certainly the weirdest fucking timeline. But yeah, it seems like that they're kind of like innovating with like sports stuff. Like they're doing like it seems like they're really pushing the boundaries of film, and also like kind of using sports within that as well. It's whether it's the filming of sports or creating stories in regards to sporting events or the sports themselves. So it's like going to be this amalgamation of like using these two major things that these guys are experts in, and benefit from one benefiting from the other, and kind of doing something they are both passionate about and making stuff together. So it's definitely an interesting idea. I hope it works out for them. I know Cristiano Ronaldo is pretty beloved, so that I know. I don't know much about soccer, but I do know that I know this guy. Like I know the name. Like I know he's really popular. So this seems like a cool and innovative idea, but I don't know if I'll be like interested in that personally, but definitely cool. It's definitely pretty cool. Goal. Anyway.
Yeah. Fair enough. I personally want to see what these two people, who I wouldn't have ever even imagined knew each other, quite frankly, like what they will potentially come up with. Like that's my thing. It's Matthew Vaughn and Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay, interesting combination. We'll just have to wait and see what the studio does. I mean, obviously they've got money to spend. Cristiano Ronaldo has money to spend, and Matthew Vaughn has got the ideas. So we'll just have to see what they come up with together when they put their creative and financial muscles into one studio now. With that in mind, guys, moving on to Star Wars. I don't know if our newest subscriber, Marvel Star Wars fanatic, is here in the chat or not, but Star Wars, Andor, especially Andor, is coming out next week. It starts releasing very, very soon. As soon as Daredevil wraps up its run, we're gonna get into Andor season 2 with 3 episodes, John. So Diego Luna, the star of the show, was recently saying how the Rogue One director pitched the Star Wars film as something like Y tu mamá también, which was one of the older movies. I believe that's one that who was the director? Let's see. If you're talking about Garth Edwards,
believe it was Alfonso Cuarón
made that movie. Yeah,
and he was in that. That was one of his first movies. So
yes. So
definitely interesting. I've seen the movie. It's a weird movie. I mean, it's like it's definitely like there's cultural dissonance there. So like the way I can describe it, it's like Stand By Me, but with more sex. So I'm really curious how that's being pitched as a Star Wars movie. But okay.
It's very interesting. I don't know if the Star Wars community would be ready for something like that. It's amazing that Garth Edwards even pitched the idea. I suppose you can pitch anything. Anyway, that's I just thought this was interesting. And the reason I bring this in is because I found all these dude, today Lucasfilm put out like a couple of dozen photos from Andor season 2, giving us a better idea of not only what Diego
Hey,
Luna's
look, it's our
character's gonna
only
go
good
through.
property anymore. Please.
It was the only thing that's coming out this year, I think, right? I mean, you've got Adia Arjona there as well. She's playing Bix, his girlfriend, I guess, in the show. But I have a feeling she doesn't make it through the season, obviously, because she wasn't in Rogue One. So we'll just have to see.
I mean, to be fair, like Emilia Clarke wasn't in the original Star Wars trilogy, and she lived at the end of Solo.
Yeah,
so.
maybe she just exists and is just not. Then maybe she goes to.
That's the hopeful part. But we know how his life ends, so
maybe she goes to the funeral. That's what I'm saying. I'm suggesting at least. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. But these aren't the only two photos. We've got another look, of course, at Ben Mendelsohn being back as Director Koenig, or Krennic, I should say. He looks as menacing as ever. Of course, he was in Rogue One. He was one of the better characters in that movie. Wow, Diego Luna almost looking like Doctor Strange there, except I don't think that's a cape. Whatever. Anyway, K2SO. I can't wait to see him back. He's voiced by the great Alan Tudyk.
I mean, the man is voicing a lot of robots now, so
that's kind of his thing. It's his specialty. Of course, you've got Saw Gerrera, Forrest Whitaker. It's like, you have to believe in the. I forgot what his lines were, but I just remember like he always sounded like he was out of breath.
I mean, he was like half robot at a certain point, right?
He was. Yeah, he was. You have to believe in the rebellion. Like you can. I don't know. I somebody give me a quote from the movie. I'll try to do it in the voice. I just loved his character because every time he came on screen, it was like the dude played it so serious, and he was like, I just wanted to laugh at the accent. But anyway, you could see a lot of this is being shot like with physical sets and props, and it looks amazing. You've got Mon Mothma there, played by Genevieve O'Reilly. Of course, Luthen, Stellan Skarsgård. Dude, if you saw the first season of the show, Stellan Skarsgård is a fucking badass. And like, I legit mean that. Like, not in a, oh yeah, average Star Wars movie badass. No, the dude, yeah, he's got a dark side to him. He's got he's tortured. He's obviously mentally tortured, like a lot of characters in this world are, as they're building up the rebellion, or the resistance, or the rebellion to the Empire. You start to see Diego Luna taking on a more of a regal role in this season. Apparently, he's not just on the outer edges of the galaxy. He's getting into the Senate and stuff. So we're gonna get to see more of him dressed in that. This shot looks pretty close to something we would have seen in the movie Rogue One itself. Of course, more images of the Empire. Both of these characters were a big part of season 1. I can't wait to see more of them. Cyril and Deidre. uh, some of these shots are from the trailers, pretty much, that they've put out so far. I'm really excited. I mean, these pictures keep going and going and going. So I'm not gonna go through all of them, John. But I, for one, as a fan of the show, I'm more excited than ever that this is coming back, and we're gonna get 3 episodes a week. Like, that is insane. Um, have I managed to convince
I
you
hope
to watch the show?
for I just hope for people it's still good because it was originally supposed to be 5 seasons, and then Tony Gilroy's like, this shit's taking too long. We gotta fucking shorten that shit. So they just took like the extra 4 seasons and put it into the second season. So hopefully it doesn't suck because of that. So because like the one good Star Wars project in the last fucking 6 years, that's something, I guess. Not great, but hey, they produced something good. And now they're like, hey, Tony Gilroy, please take over this franchise. And he's like, nah, I'm good. Refuses to elaborate.
No,
leaves.
he's already spent so many years of his career working on this franchise. I'm not surprised that he wants to move on. You know, maybe he will
Oh
come
yeah,
back
I'm not
eventually.
saying he should. I'm not saying he should. I'm just saying, that's what people want because he actually produced something like halfway decent for Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, it's not just halfway decent, dude. This is the best thing Star Wars has ever done. That's in my humble opinion, but it is. Enterprising saying Andor is the life support of Star Wars. Yeah, in some ways you could say that, but hey, you know what? It only takes one good movie or TV show to potentially bring a whole franchise back to life, and Andor did
No,
a
let's
lot
not
of
say
that.
that.
No, but I mean it's true. Yes, the problem with Star Wars is they put out one good thing and then one thing that's not so good. So you gotta, if you're gonna do multiple releases, then it's, if one thing brings the momentum back and all the positive vibes. Remember what The Mandalorian did the first season? Everybody was like, Star Wars is back, and then we got like a bunch
And then
of
they
other shit
shit
that
the bed
wasn't
with
good.
season 3 with
So
having
right,
Jack Black and fucking Lizzo in there for
yeah.
some reason, and then
I know,
yeah.
but my point is a good season of Andor is good for Star Wars as a franchise, and then it will be up to the next thing after it to keep the momentum going. That's the same thing with Marvel, right? Like if Thunderbolts is great but Fantastic Four sucks, then people are not going to be happy when it comes time for the fall months this year, and all we're getting are Marvel TV shows. So it's all about momentum, which is why I think Superman being the only DC movie this year is a good thing, because if Superman hits, then we're just gonna sit pretty for like a whole year. We're gonna get Peacemaker, yes, but more people are gonna watch Superman in theaters than they will watch Peacemaker on streaming. So yeah, anyway, moving on to the next thing, John, we gotta talk about Ryan Coogler's Sinners movie. It debuted on Rotten Tomatoes today, and when it first got put up there, it had like 26 to 30 reviews depending on when you checked, and it was 100%. The Rotten Tomato score was perfect. Now I've gone in since and taken a look at it, and with 37 reviews, it's still 100%. As I think I refreshed this page not too long ago. Let me do another refresh. Yes, it's still 100%, John. The critic consensus so far is it's thematically rich, as a great American novel, and just plain rip-roaring fun. Writer-director Ryan Coogler's first original blockbuster reveals the full scope of his singular imagination with unforgettable panache. What a word that is.
Let's go. I'm seeing it for the plot. I know Liz isn't seeing it for the plot. I'm seeing, like, when this trailer was, the teaser for this was released, I'm like, this is looking good. Then I saw the trailer. I'm like, okay, now I'm at half a chub. And then the next trailer was okay, now I'm fully hard. Now I'm ready. Let's fucking go. The man has made some great movies and one not so great movie, but Ryan Coogler is expert of the craft, especially with ya boy Michael B. Jordan. So let's fucking go. It seems like we hopefully and might get an original, purely original movie that actually might make a shit ton of money. That's because it's been like, it's one thing where it's like Mickey 17, because that was not very marketed all that much. However, this, like, pretty much every movie I've been to, the two most like consistent trailers I've seen are Final Reckoning and this. Like, I would say like 90% of the movies I've seen in the theater had one of the Sinners trailers. So it's like, yeah, this looks good. I'm stoked. Like it's taking an old school thing, making it kind of new school by like it has like a past, present, future kind of vibe to it. Like it has like this very olden kind of, folklore thing of vampires. It's the present, the then present of the 1920s. But then in terms of like future, it's like bringing in like it's more out of universe, but like a sort of like more original movies. I just hope that this makes a lot of money. Like that's the big thing. Yeah, it could be in 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. That might mean something. That might not mean something. But it like I don't like Rotten Tomatoes even when it is positive. I mean, I was gonna be seeing this anyway. I was gonna be excited for it anyway. Rotten Tomatoes helps a little bit for all the people that listen to that stuff, but like I'm just stoked for that. I'm really fucking stoked for this, and it's just like please, even if you're not interested in movies, in going to support this movie so we don't get fucking garbage like fucking Minecraft for the next 10 years, and we could actually get good shit like this, please. But hopefully hopefully this doesn't bomb. I don't want this to bomb. And I think I think we're in for something special if this does, reach that point of what we all want it to reach.
I mean, look, I for one agree with Antonio Baker 100,000%. Warner Brothers needs like a streak here, and while they're doing great with Minecraft, at least financially, critically not so much, but they need them. They need movies to be successful, because Mickey 17 was very very well received as well with the critics, but it didn't do much at the box office. So for them to now have a Minecraft movie that, regardless of the critics' reception being bad, it's making a lot of money at the box office. I really hope with Sinners they kind of get the best of both worlds. Like it's not only got that perfect Rotten Tomato score, but also the people that go to see it love it and they keep going to see it. So the movie makes enough money to justify the level of investment they've put into this. Bringing in a filmmaker the caliber of Ryan Coogler, who obviously has a lot of ties with Marvel and will do Black Panther 3 and continues to be involved with that what's that Ironheart TV show. Like he's continuing to do a bunch of stuff with Marvel. So for them to be able to bring him at Warner Brothers and say, hey, go do your thing, if it hits, then this would be fantastic for Warner Brothers. This would be fantastic for Ryan Coogler. It's a win for original filmmaking, John. We talk about it all the time. IPs dominate the box office, but let's get back to some original movies that make our hearts smile and make a lot of money in the process. I can't wait to see this movie when it comes out. But in the meantime, John, we now have to move on from the news section of the show to the quick hits section, and we've got a list of quick hits today. So why don't you hit that quick hits music for us, and we'll get things started. All right, so let's get things going with the first quick hit. Saturday Night Live is going to the UK because Lorne Michaels, the creator of SNL, is taking the sketch comedy show to England, where it's going to be a London-based SNL. It's going to be SNL UK. It's going to air on Sky in the United Kingdom, and of course Sky is owned by Comcast, which is the parent company of NBC Universal. Of course SNL airs on NBC, so it's all in-house. But now we're going to be getting an SNL in the UK. John, are you excited about this? You're going to get British comedians and guests, and the format is largely the same, but it's going to air on Sky. I'm sure it'll be available on something like Peacock in the US as well.
Yeah, not really. I mean, it'll be funnier because British comedy is way better than American comedy, but and Saturday Night Live is not good anymore outside of Weekend Update. So I'm happy the UK gets something, and maybe it'll be good, but I don't really care enough about SNL to watch it.
Well, I'm excited to see what they make of it. Like, are we gonna get something that's going to be as iconic as the SNL in the US has been? It's hard to imagine it can be, but I suppose it's possible. We'll just have to wait and see. All right, the next quick hit we got here is the San Francisco 49ers set a documentary series over at AMC. It's a 4-part show basically documenting the dynastic dominance of the Niners back in the 80s and 90s. And Tom Brady, who grew up a fan of the 49ers, of course, a Patriots legend, and he won the Super Bowl for the Buccaneers while he was playing. He is one of the executive producers. His production company is involved in this. Is this one that interests you, John?
No.
Cool. I would be interested. I don't know if I have the time, but I'm certainly interested. Count me curious. Welcome to Wrexham. Sets a season 4 premiere at FX. I can't believe this thing has already been around for 4 seasons, or it will be. But it's set to premiere on May 15th at 9 p.m. with 2 episodes, and then you can repeat watch it on Hulu the next day. John, is this one that you're following?
I've literally never heard of this until right now.
You had no idea this existed? Are you kidding?
Never heard of this before.
Oh my god. By the way, Antonio's in the chat. Hello, Antonio. I think I already said hello, but like the chat is blowing up, so keep chatting it up. Keep chatting it up. Welcome to Wrexham. It's very endearing. I mean, even if you're not a football fan, you'll enjoy it, I think, John. It's on FX, season 4. This one, you might be a bit more interested. Of course, Alexandra Daddario stars in The Mayfair Witches. It's now got a season 3 renewal over at AMC. Better Call Saul alumnus Thomas Schnoz has joined the series as co-runner alongside Esta Spalding. Are you excited about this? Have you ever seen this show? I mean,
no.
It's got your favorite actress in it, or one of your favorites at least.
I would say she's my favorite. I just want her for Zatanna. I mean, this kind of proves it. But never watched the show. I don't plan on ever watching the show. I mean, I've heard it's okay, but I don't really care enough to watch it. But I'm sure it'll be even better now that you got someone as talented as someone who worked on Better Call Saul. So that's pretty good. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon series is in the works at Amazon from Jason Ning and Ron Moore and Sony TV. I mean, I think the reason that Dan is off camera because the idea of Ronald D. Moore is probably making him come buckets right now because he is Ronald D. Moore's biggest fan. Will this be good? Probably not, because the original film is just a masterwork. So I can't imagine that they'll do anything to equal that or be even close to as good as that. So yeah, I don't I mean, Ronald, I don't play video games, D. Moore is doing a God of War series, and so I can't imagine that'll be good, but this probably won't be as good either. So yeah. Yeah, so Vince Vaughn, Susan Sarandon's star in this very kind of endearing and wholesome movie. I watched the trailer for this. It looks very cute. It's apparently based on a true story. It's very cute, very nice. It's like something your mom would watch on like a fucking on like 3 p.m. or something. Very cute. Nothing crazy about it, but I know Steven Chbosky is. I think he's mainly an actor, so it's kind of interesting to see him behind the camera. Maybe he's done like other projects that I haven't heard of, but interesting he gets behind the camera. At least if I'm thinking of the same guy, I think he's like mainly a character actor. But it's got Susan Sarandon. It's got okay, so different guy. I was thinking of somebody else. I was thinking of an older actor, but no, it's he's mainly a director, so my bad. But even then, this looks, it's got a good cast. It's got Vince Vaughn, Susan Sarandon, Talia Shire, Joe Manganiello, Linda Cardellini. So yeah, overall a good cast. Looks very fun and wholesome and nice. Got the Italiano, got the Mia Familia.
What's real? It's family.
Me Familia. Anyway, so, that looks fun. But Jennifer Lopez to host 2025 American Music Awards. Don't give a fuck. I don't care about Jennifer Lopez. She's a cunt. I don't care about the American Music Awards. Never watched them. So, moving on. Librarians, the next chapter. Jesus Christ, how many fucking spin-offs this show has fucking had? Sets 2-night premiere in May. Never watched any of the 700 million shows that this fucking franchise has. Although it's definitely an interesting idea. I've heard some things about it. I've heard it's good. But to anybody interested, it's gonna premiere in May. I'm not gonna watch it, but stay tuned. Lincoln Lawyer cast Sasha Alexander as FBI agent. Good actress. Don't watch the show. Never watched the movie either, but if you watch it, I didn't even know the show was still on, so cool. Get pumped for all the people that watch Lincoln Lawyer. Sarah Michelle Gellar to star in Bad Summer People TV series based on book and works at A&E Studios. Sarah Michelle Gellar, very, Buffy, gotta love Buffy. I don't know this book, so I'm not really interested in this TV show. But I'm sure anybody interested will have a fine time if you like Gellar. And it looks like it's gonna be like some kind of murder mystery. That's like the vibe I'm getting from this. But could be good. Add it to the list, maybe. I don't know. So Jermaine Fowler, big up and comer, and I've liked I've seen a bunch from him. Definitely a very talented actor, like drama and comedy wise. But he is going to be joining Only Murders in the Building season 5. Don't watch the show. I know, crazy. A show I don't watch. That's like walking in the desert and finding water. But yeah, I know he's talented. I know he'll probably do a good job. Don't watch the show. I do love Steve Martin and Martin Short. And I know it's a fun show. My parents watch it, and pretty much everybody I know watches the show. So probably fun, but cool. To all of you guys watching it, have fun. I'm not gonna. So Emma Corrin, Jack Lowden, and Olivia Colman set for leading roles in Netflix's Pride and Prejudice limited series. We were just talking about this the other day, that Jack Lowden was being considered for Mr. Darcy in Pride and Prejudice. Now I imagine Emma Corrin is going to play Elizabeth Bennet, if I were to take a wild guess, and Olivia Colman is going to play another character. I only know Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth Bennet. Like, my sister loves Jane Austen shit. I'll send her this then. But, I know of Jane Austen. My sister, as I said, fucking adores Jane Austen, loves it, favorite author, blah, 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 all that shit. But I'm sure it could be good. It could be good. I mean, as on the 20th, you can catch Pride and Prejudice again in theaters, as in the 2005 film for its 20th anniversary. So that's great. But I'm probably not going to watch this. But
I'm excited for this. Jack Lowden. We talked about this yesterday, that he was in talks. Now he's confirmed. And Emma Corrin and Olivia Colman are award-winning. Olivia Colman, Oscar-winning actress. So I can't wait for this. The Netflix version of Pride and Prejudice. It's a limited series, though. It's not a movie. But Mr. Darcy, I wonder. Yeah, it's kind of hard to, Keira Knightley and. It was a long time ago.
Bruh, it already was a limited series. You had the Colin Firth version back in like the 90s. So it's like there already was a limited series. So yeah. If this ends up sucking like the Netflix adaptation of Rebecca, then you can go watch the miniseries with Colin Firth. So there you go.
Cool beans. All right. I'll be right back, John. But take it over. Samuel L. Jackson. Can't get any cooler than the cool cat that is Sam Jackson.
Well, speaking of Fantastic Four, Samuel L. Jackson to star. Tim Story, who directed both of the 2000s Fantastic Four movies, to direct Paramount Pictures' Man of War. Anything in regards to Lord of War? We don't know, but could be cool. Tim Story. The only two movies I know of are Fantastic Four and Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer, so that's not great. And also, he treated Jessica Alba like complete shit on those movies, so he's kind of a dickhole. So probably not going to watch this. So, yeah. But Samuel, that's cool, but I could catch him in other better movies than this will probably be. But speaking of, I don't know, Anyway, David Tennant, Mira Sial, and Eddie Marsan, and more join star-studded cast of Tim Crouch's An Oak Tree revival at Young Vic. I don't even know what that means. I like David Tennant. I know of Mira Sial. I've seen her and stuff. And I like Eddie Marsan. Got a good cast. I don't know what the flying fuck this is. And I don't even know, like, I don't know the original thing. I didn't know there was a revival of it. And I don't know what the fuck Young Vic means either. But for anybody who knows of this, get pumped for a revival. If it's good, cool. Yeah, I'll just watch Doctor Who reruns. It's fine. But speaking of David Tennant and Doctor Who, David Tennant recalls agent told him, don't touch Doctor Who role. That's fair, because it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're this thing, you're this thing for life. And it's like, there are actors that didn't want to be stuck in that typecast. But there are people that, like David Tennant, like Peter Capaldi, who just love the role so much. They're like, yeah, I'm fucking Doctor Who for the rest of the older fans call him Doctor Who, even though he's really the Doctor. But David Tennant's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it anyway. Fuck it. And he's like, I don't care. I love this character, and this is a once in a lifetime thing. I'm gonna do it. And he did it, and you know what? He's still doing great for himself. He even did Marvel, and he's still doing great for himself. So it depends what your established, career was beforehand. Matt Smith didn't have much of a career beforehand, and he doesn't have much of a career now. Meanwhile, David Tennant had a pretty decent established career beforehand, and an even better career now. Peter Capaldi had a really great career beforehand, and he has a really good career now. So it kind of just depends on who, if and what. Who. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Dan just put this in here to get me to talk more about quick hits, even though it's supposed to be quick. But gotta include a Doctor Who thing in there because you can't see it, unfortunately. There it is. Yay! There he is. Not David Tennant, but it's supposed to be quick, Dan. These are supposed to be quick. I can't spend all my time talking about Doctor Who. I would love to, but gotta be quick. So I bet his agent is eating crow now. Tyrek Withers, don't know who that is, to star with Micah Monroe in Colleen Hoover's reminder of it. Damn, Colleen Hoover is getting all the fucking things now. After the fucking shit show of It Ends With Us, she has 3 adaptations of her books in the near future. This is the 4th one I've heard of in the last 3 weeks. But this dude definitely has a jaw. We'll see if he has acting ability, but he definitely has a jawline. So that's cool. Don't know who this guy is, but I wish the best to him in this adaptation. I look forward to seeing him in Him, because that looks like an interesting movie. Legally Blonde prequel series. I can't read the headline. Series L casts Amy Pitts as series regular. Cool. I've seen bits and pieces of the movie because my sisters love it and forced me to watch it from time to time. I haven't seen the whole thing, but I've pretty much seen the whole thing. Never seen anything. I haven't seen Legally Blonde, Red, White, and Blonde, or Legally Blondes, and I'm not gonna watch this shit either. So don't really care, but I'm sure my sisters will probably eat this shit up. So get pumped for that. All right, Mubi, as in the production company behind The Substance, takes Joachim Trier-Kahn's film Sentimental Value with Rienz, Skarsgård, and Fanning. The art house distributor and streamer has acquired the Norwegian director's latest feature, the UK, Ireland, Latin America, Turkey, and India. That's not a real sentence. But that, this is a hard to read headline and a hard to read log line. Somebody needed to proofread this shit. But this could be cool. I like the actors involved. I don't know who Joaquin Trier is, but could be good. I don't know when we would get it here, but hopefully we do, and we can watch it, and then it'll. I don't know what this is about. I like the cast, but that's all I know about it. But could be interesting. How many more fucking quick hits do we have? Got like 3 more. Okay, so Prada to buy Versace in $1.38 billion deal that shakes up luxury fashion world. Oh my God, rich people are going to be so upset about this. I wish I could care. Don't care. Oh my God.
Hilarious.
The fashion world. Like, bro, I'm wearing shit from like Old Navy.
I guess,
like,
hey,
I
now
don't
you guys
really
know.
care.
If you buy Versace, if you buy Prada, Jimmy Choo, or Michael Kors, it's all the same thing. It's all owned by the same company. It's all the same. Anyway, moving on. Jeopardy, dude, we talked about this a while ago. Remember there was like a lawsuit between Sony and CBS over this? So Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, which are owned by Sony, but obviously you can watch them on CBS. They were had the distribution rights. There's a court battle that's been going on because Sony said, hey, CBS was in breach of contract, so now Sony will take over the worldwide distribution for the show, therefore obviously making more money because they get all the direct revenue. They accused CBS of making, deals that were undervalued, like basically, under not getting as much money back as the brands are worth. And the court ruled in their favor. So now Sony gets to continue doing this. CBS on their part are appealing the decision, and they want to, put a hold on the decision from the appeals court. So it's kind of crazy because this might mean that over time, Sony just says, hey, you know what? We're not going to have CBS be the home of Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. So guys, if you're a fan of either of these shows, you might have to find a different network to watch it on soon. And that's that's just gonna be a very interesting situation. I mean, for decades these two shows have been on CBS, so holy crap, that's a big change. Lead Easy saying, I'm glad all industries are becoming monopoly horseshit and not just the stuff I like. Video games go capitalism, down with art. Chaos. Well, Caleb saying Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune shows made for middle-aged people who contemplate existence. Well, I know a few people out there who aren't exactly middle-aged who watch both of these shows. So with that in mind, the last thing I wanted to do while John is taking a bit of a break, and he'll be back to talk about DC in a minute. But to finish off the quickest today, I wanted to talk about some of the birthdays. You can see the whole list here. The Hollywood Reporter put this together. Some of the names I recognize: Jamie Chung, Steven Seagal celebrating his 73rd birthday, Mandy Moore, David Harbour getting the big 5-0, Daisy Ridley, happy birthday to Daisy Ridley. Charlie Hunnam is also turning 45. Barkhad Abdi also in there. Kyler Lay, she was in Supergirl, the TV show. She's also in there celebrating her birthday today. Orlando Jones, AJ Mishaka from the Disney days. I'm trying to see if there's any other names here I recognize. Do you guys recognize any of the other names? Ava Michelle, Deborah Rush, Stephanie Shah, Cara Delizia, Shin Hyun Ben, Ian Nelson, Natasha Melnick. Yeah, those are all the names I recognize. Happy birthday to one and all. And we hope that you guys have had a fantastic, guys and gals have had a fantastic birthday, a super day for yourself. See what I did there? I combined both movies. We're doing that. We're cross-promoting Marvel and DC. But that brings us to the end of Quick Hits for today. So I'm going to hit a stop on that music. So guys, let us know in the comments down below. Which of the news stories did you like today? Whether was it the stuff about AI, Khan? What about Minecraft and video game movies potentially taking over superhero movies at the box office? Is it time yet? Are they there yet? And also we talked about, of course, Thunderbolts, the early box office tracking, $70 million start. It's lower than Captain America 4, but I guess this movie, if it does better with audiences and it makes more money overall, that could be a good thing. Fantastic Four, new images and a new poster, new teaser footage of them being dressed up as astronauts, the 60s vibe that they're giving. It looks, pardon the pun, pretty fantastic to me. And of course, all the quick hits. We had literally every TV show news possible. A new Pride and Prejudice limited series. Jack Lowden, underrated. Go watch Slow Horses on Apple TV Plus. Highly recommend it. But yeah, that brings us to the end of the quick hits. If you are still watching, hit the like button, get in the comments down below, tell us what you thought about all the news. Hit subscribe if you're new, because we do this 5 days a week, of course. So we'll be back tomorrow doing it again, and hit the notification bell. But we're not done yet. Of course, now we have to get into the main event of the show. As always, guys, it's time. It's DC time. So welcome on in to another episode of DCU Daily. I'm, of course, your host, Daniel, and I'm here to get you guys all the latest from the world of DC Comics, DC at the movies, on TV, lots more to talk about. Of course, John will be joining us in a minute. He had to kind of run away and take a bit of a restroom break, let's say, but he'll be back on the show. But in the meantime, I'm happy to talk DC with you guys. We've got to talk about the one story that one of you guys actually mentioned in the chat earlier, and that's a report from Grace Randolph. Now, again, James Gunn has, famously or infamously said Grace Randolph is not a very trustworthy person in terms of these reports. And what she reported here was a little vague. It doesn't get into any of the specifics, so we don't quite know how true any of it really is. But basically, what Grace was talking about was that the Batman sequel, the Batman Part 2, is being delayed so much because Matt Reeves is going through something similar to what Chadwick Boseman went through with his health leading up to the time that he passed away. That implies that Matt Reeves is personally struggling with some kind of health crisis. I hope that if that is the case, then that he's fighting through it, and our best wishes and best of luck to him. And hopefully he gets better and starts, to get back into the thick of things. But also one of the comments in this Instagram post from the Daily Kryptonian, who's a super fan of all things superheroes, especially Superman, he said he has a family, and for her to spread this is gross. What if his kids or family don't know? What in the world? Exactly. Like, this is a situation where we're not quite sure if this is his own health that he's talking about. If it is, then what exactly is going on? But yeah, we've speculated in the past that he was potentially going to a divorce, and that might have been causing these delays. Here's the thing: the last time Matt Reeves was on a red carpet, he said his aim is to get the Batman Part 2 into production by the end of this year. That could be December, that could be October. They were like trying to get it in the at least the fourth quarter of the year, so October, November, December, at some point in that time. Robert Pattinson, we talked about yesterday. It looks like he's almost signed on for Dune Part 3, so he's going to be busy filming The Odyssey, then going to film Dune Messiah, and that's going to be in the summer months. So hopefully he'll be freed up in time to go do the Batman Part 2. But we haven't received any more news from James Gunn or Matt Reeves about where the script stands. The last time we heard was a few months ago. James Gunn said he hadn't even seen the first draft yet. We know the co-writer of the Batman Part 2 script is currently working on another film as well. We covered that on the show, I believe, a week ago. So it looks like a lot of the people involved in this project obviously are tying themselves up with other projects along the way. Does that mean they've given up their obligations to the Batman Part 2? Not necessarily, but nobody has any idea as to when things are going to officially go into production either. We, of course, had a delay in the release date for the Batman. It's set to come out now. I believe it's October 2027, right? It was supposed to be 2026, and now it's 2027. So, yeah, we're still over 2 years away from that. Or at least, let me do the math. Like, we're over 2 years away from that. So there's plenty of time. Maybe that big of a delay we were talking about, like, do they really need 2.5 years to make this movie? It might have accounted for whatever Matt Reeves is going through right now, if you think about it. Maybe what he's going through right now allows him to have a period of reprieve, however many months it takes, and then he resumes work. Maybe they don't go into production at the end of the year. Every time he said that he was aiming, or it was his goal to go into production by the end of the year, he said it in a way that it was an aspiration for him. And even when Robert Pattinson on the Mickey 17 red carpet talked about it, he said, yeah, I think that's what I've been hearing. That's the goal. Nobody has confirmed that is when they're going into production, so it's not a certainty. And Jeffrey Wright, as well as who plays Selena Kyle again? Why am I forgetting her name right now? Who played Catwoman?
Zoe Kravitz.
Zoe Kravitz. Even when she was talking about it, promoting her last movie that she directed, she said, "Yeah, I don't have a ton of details." So nobody quite really knows. Andy Serkis himself, who's busy with a bunch of his own projects with Lord of the Rings and stuff, he himself said that, I'm clearly involved, but I don't know when we're gonna go into production. Colin Farrell kind of on the same page with that. But yeah, like Elite Easy is saying, if indeed Matt Reeves is having a health crisis of some kind, that Grace Randolph alleged here, then yeah, good vibes to Matt Reeves. And Caleb saying, I hope Grace is wrong and Matt is all right. And then Enterprising saying, God, no, God, please, no, prayers up for Reeves, man, if it is true. So, John, I want to bring you into this. What are your thoughts on this whole situation?
The whole situation is fucking gross because it just goes to show that fucking any type of journalistic integrity is fucking dead. Like, why do you need to have feel the need to fucking say this? Oh yeah, a guy said this, that, and this other thing that, oh yeah, he might have cancer. Like, who the fuck are you to fucking say that? Like, if we didn't think Grace Randolph could be any more of a fucking cunt than she already was, this just puts her in the shittiest, most bottom of the barrel bullshit you could possibly imagine. Really, just for like a couple more clicks, you have to reveal that maybe this man is like struggling through cancer, some type of disease, something even worse for nothing. Maybe what if he doesn't even have it? What if this is all bullshit? You're gonna drag this guy's name through the mud for nothing because like how low can you possibly get as a person? One, like if he does have it, why does it feel the need to? She's like, oh, give them privacy. It's like you're not giving them privacy by letting this get out. And then on top of the fact, Caleb was saying it's so disrespectful and gross. And also, why are you reporting on somebody's sickness? And on top of the fact, like, what if people didn't like this? What this guy is saying, like, what if like the reason he kept this a secret? Maybe he didn't want to tell his family because maybe this, that, whatever fucking reason. It doesn't matter. Maybe he wanted to keep this down low because it's a very serious fucking health thing. You fucking idiot. And he wanted to keep this down low. I know we're kind of part of the problem now because we're talking about it. But it's just like the whole situation is just gross as fuck. Because like no matter which angle you put it at, you're it's a lose-lose situation because like if he has it, cool, you're spreading it around that this dude is going through a lot and could be going through one of the worst things imaginable that somebody could go with in, whether it's cancer or dementia or something worse, like not dementia, but like any sort of disease. I don't know why I said dementia, but like just like because cancer is the thing, colon cancer was the thing that took Chadwick Boseman away from us, unfortunately. So that's like kind of the thing that is being said that's not being said. Or any sort. It's just like if he does have it, like, why are you revealing that? Why are you talking about this? Why did you say this? For some clicks, maybe more people will click on my video. Well, then you're a cretin and you are the worst of the worst. It's like if we didn't think this bitch could get any worse, she gets worse. And it's just like this bitch needs to be fucking nuked from the internet and needs to fucking go into a hole and fucking die because this is fucking despicable if it is true. If it's not true, you're starting rumors for no reason. You're just like, oh, the reason that Batman Part 2 isn't happening, throws dart at dartboard. Oh, maybe he has fucking cancer. Like, really? Are you really going to say this because of a fucking movie getting delayed? How fucking despicable can you possibly fucking get that this is what you have to say in order to like have some sort of reason why a movie got delayed? Like, really? You have to oh yeah, think of the worst possible thing I could think of, start a rumor and see how this goes. It's like any facet you look at this, every angle is disgusting. Grace Randolph should be fucking banned from YouTube because this, if it is true, if it's not true, it's like the lowest of the possible low. And like, just get rid of her. Like, Jeff Snyder might be an asshole and might be starting rumors about movies. this is like a new like this. You're making Jeff Snyder look like a fucking saint in regards to this. This is a man's health we're talking about. This isn't even a fucking movie anymore. You're talking about a man's health, and maybe he wanted to fucking keep it a secret for a reason, and now it's let out for the world to see. And you're like, well, I'm fucked, and you did that for clicks. Eat a dick. Fuck you. I hope you fucking die. Like, I genuinely hope that, because there's no fucking reason that you should absolutely say this at all. If somebody tells it to you, then you keep it a secret, because fuck you. Fuck you. This is terrible. I can't imagine why you would fucking do this at all.
Yeah.
For nothing.
Well, if Matt Reeves is indeed struggling with something with regards to his health, we wish him the very best.
I do, if it is true. I mean, I wish him the
yeah.
best, and I wish him to actual privacy, which Grace Randolph fucking breached, if it is true. So, you know, I guess there goes that. But still, I still hope it stays private as much as he can.
Yeah. And you know, and if it's not true, then obviously this is just false reporting to the worst degree. So we will keep an eye out and see if anything else to regards to the Batman Part 2, any updates come out. But again, wishing Matt Reeves the very best if indeed he is going through something in his personal life, whether it be health issues or otherwise. As much as we are frustrated that the movie keeps getting delayed, his health will always and forever come first. That's the way it should be. Like, movies are movies. Your health comes first. Like, you can take time off. Like, Zack Snyder took time off to be with his family to bereave the loss of his daughter. And walking away from Justice League. I mean, that was the movie that he was incredibly passionate about, obviously. So it's not the first time we would see something like that if that were to be the case. But wishing Matt Reeves the very best. Again, if he is going through something to that effect, whether it's a health concern or anything else, that's basically something in his personal life. And we will not care to speculate any further. Again, give Matt Reeves his privacy, as you said, John. But moving on to some Superman related news. Not so much news. I just kind of wanted to bring this up because I found an image online. Somebody kind of put us side by side together, and they were kind of comparing, hey, look, those people complaining, that Superman can't be injured, that, you can't make him look like a dweeb or whatever. Look at the comics. It's pretty comic accurate. In fact, you look at the image on the left side of the screen there, that's in the comics, that Superman got way more beat up and scarred and
I don't know
bruised than even the one we see in the movie.
I think this was from Up in the Sky, because back in like the fucking 70s and 80s, there was like a promotional comic where like Superman fights Muhammad Ali. It was like they made it in universe, like a charity thing. And so the Tom King comic Up in the Sky, they had a scene that was that was like a reference to that. And I think that's what this is from, because it looks like newer artwork. So I assume it's from Up in the Sky, which is a recent comic, which, with how much James Gunn loves jacking off Tom King, it makes sense. So there you go. And he looks worse in the left image. So there's that as well.
Yeah. So I mean, for anybody who's like criticizing, like, oh my God, you can't make Superman look weak. I'm like, well, look, it's in the comics. It happens. Like, you can't make Superman impervious, because then there's no dramatic tension. Like, you can't tell a story if the character is all powerful. How can you relate to that? Like, there's no tension in the story. There's no source of conflict. So yeah, I mean, Superman, he's not invincible. He's not invulnerable, but he can be beat up. I guess he can also die. Like, he's died in the comics. Obviously in BVS, Superman dies. So we've seen that many times before. And in this case, at least, he's injured, but he gets healed up by the sun, which is also very comic accurate. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring that up. Now, talking about Superman, John, David Cornsweet might be the latest, but he's certainly not the only one to live that Superman life and have that Superman physique. You look at Tyler Hoechlin there, you look at Henry Cavill, even Brendan Rouse, they have all played Superman, and of course also David Cornsweet on the far right. And you can see the impressive physiques they've put on. All of them, have different body types, but obviously, certain similarities. You've got the broad shoulders, you've got the pecs, and of course, the core is very much outlined in all of them, except when you look at the suits. Whereas all of the other three suits, you've kind of got like spray tan abs, or like, just, you want to highlight the abs, I guess, in some ways, like whether it's plating or padding. the latest Superman suit with David Cornsweet doesn't have any of that, which is uniquely different. And obviously, James Gunn, I think, has done that on purpose. He's said as much. But yeah, it goes to show you we haven't really gotten any bad Superman. I mean, it doesn't include Dean Cain here and a couple others who have played the character. But I mean, hey, you've got 3 cinematic and 2 sort of TV ones in there, Superman, and they've all gotten in probably the best shape of their lives to play the
Oh, you
character.
got
So
a
it really
movie,
shows.
a TV show, both, and
Yeah,
then a movie that hasn't come
and
out
movie.
yet.
Yeah,
So
it's pretty crazy. I just love how Bender Knauth got to do it on the movies and in the TV show. Uh, and actually, his version of the logo too, the Kingdom Come logo, is the closest iteration to what we're getting in the new Superman movies. It's just fun. It's fun to look at these side by side, right? Like it's not unprecedented the shape that David Cornsweet
right.
is in, and yeah, clearly all these actors put in the work for their jobs. All right, moving on to the next story, John. We have to talk about Vincent D'Onofrio and his interest in playing Swamp Thing, because somebody asked him on, I believe it was X or Twitter, saying, "Would you be another character, or what would you be in if you wanted to play another character outside of Wilson Fisk? Who would you want to play if not Wilson Fisk?" And Vincent D'Onofrio had a simple answer. In 2 words, he said, "Swamp Thing." So again, the question was pretty open-ended. He could have picked anything. You could have picked a Marvel character, a DC character, Vertigo, anything under the sun, but he picked Swamp Thing. And I believe this isn't the first time that he has affirmed his interest in playing Swamp Thing, John. But what are your thoughts? Would you like to see Vincent D'Onofrio play Swamp Thing?
Maybe like 20 years ago. I think the man's too old now. I think would he be great? Of course he would. It's just like, especially with like, but the thing is, one, he's lost a lot of weight, so I don't know how good that would be, like bigness wise. But I prefer like a Derek Mears type, like a stunt guy to play the role, because I mean, we're maybe getting Alec Holland in the movie. We don't know if it's going to be an origin story or not. We've gotten the character a lot. We've gotten 2 movies and 2 TV shows from for Swamp Thing. So he's kind of well known. So I don't know if they're going to do an origin story with this character. It would whatever it is. I hope it'd be good. But that the only bring is that the human quote unquote version of Swamp Thing. Um, because it's like there's like the idea of like he is Alec Holland, but at the same time he isn't. So like there's it's I think it was like the way they made it work. It was like the green made an avatar for itself, and Alec Holland just became kind of the consciousness of that. So he like kind of has the memories of Alec Holland, but he isn't like the same man. I think it was Kevin Durand in the show. He's like, "You're not a man, you're a plant that thinks he's a man." So which kind of brings the idea of the butterfly dream as well. That could be an aspect that is explored in the film. Um, are you a man who dreamt he was a butterfly, or are you butterfly who dreamt he was a man? That could bring that whole aspect into that as well. I'm sure Vincent D'Onofrio could do a good job. It just he is a bit older. Um, so I don't know, because I mean, but here's the thing: you also have Kyle Chandler. He's like fucking 60, and he's playing Hal Jordan. So I'm really curious how like what the age timeline would be. Has he been Swamp Thing for a while? If he has or he hasn't. But even then, it's um. So I don't know. It's tough for me, because it's like I'd want, but the thing is, there would be a lot to do for this character. Um, I don't know if they would do motion capture or not, considering it's James Mangold and he's a very practical filmmaker. Um, the last one we got, it was like 1990, so that makes sense. Um, something like that. Well, I mean, that's not what we're getting. We're getting a James Mangold film. We're not getting a James Gunn film. So, we'll see. I mean, we'll see if Mangold is actually still fucking doing this, because it seems like, he's doing the Andy Muschietti thing where he's like, "I'm going to do every other project and then this." And it's like, bro, are you fucking serious? So obviously we'll see, but I think that D'Onofrio is just a little bit too old, and I'd prefer like a stunt performer play the role, because if they're going with practical, you being in that makeup for a long time would probably be a little bit too much for D'Onofrio, especially at his age. And then at the same time, if you are, I mean, if they're doing it like VFX, then yeah, he could probably do it. He's a good enough actor to pull it off. But one, I prefer practical, and I think James Mangold would do that. And two, I don't know. It's just like I can't imagine this character being as old as someone like Hal Jordan. So there's that as well.
Yeah, I mean, what about Tom Hopper that just some geeky guy was suggesting? Do you think that's?
I don't know. I know he's on Umbrella Academy. I never watched Umbrella Academy. I don't know enough about him as an. The only thing I know him from, one episode of Doctor Who. That's it. He was on his laptop. He was jerking off to porn, and the doctor found him, and he's like, "Get a girlfriend, Jeff." And then that was kind of, and then we, they don't show him doing that, but that's what's implied. That's the only thing I know from Tom Hopper. He had like 2 lines in a Doctor Who episode, and that's it. That's all I know. So I can't really be the judge of that.
Yeah, that's funny. Wow. I just pulled up. Oh wow, he's got the physique. Okay, let's.
Yeah, no, he's broad. He is. I could see it, like from a physicality point of view. I could see it. I just don't know his acting very well, so I can't exactly say. Also, maybe a Batman. He has the physique of Alan Richardson, but he probably can actually act. So there's that.
Okay,
kind of looks like Patrick Wilson here a little bit, like kind of the eyes.
Yeah.
A little bit. But anyway.
This guy looks huge. Oh my god, look at those freaking arms. Damn. I don't know how much of that is real or not. But yeah, he's got the physique for it. But I mean, look, Vincent D'Onofrio, like you said, John, depending on what the VFX approach is, he could potentially play it. And the guy wants to do it. I wouldn't mind, even if they want to do a stunt performer, but you have to have an actor voice the character. So maybe Vincent D'Onofrio could just voice him.
Yeah, that could work.
Yeah. Just some geeky guy saying he already has a girlfriend. Her name is Pamela Henderson. What?
Pamela Anderson? Oh,
no.
Okay. Palm. Yeah. All right.
I wish I had the sound effect. Put them. Thank you, just some geeky guy. Caleb saying he's Patrick Wilson's roided clone. Yes. Although Patrick Wilson got pretty roided up for the Aquaman movies himself. So
when he was eating a cockroach.
That's a diet you gotta have. That's what you gotta do. But speaking of Vincent D'Onofrio, I know this is not DC related.
I mean, here's the thing though.
This poster to be like,
this was fucking hilarious.
Oddly like funny. It's like, especially
it looks like they're like
up.
ready to do something not like PG.
Either that or they're like, on Dancing with the Stars. This feels like they got this is a screenshot from their performance on Dancing with the Stars, where they're like doing like a tango or something. I don't know what this is, but it just looks
awkward and weird. But I will say Tom Hopper is only 1 inch taller than David Corenswet, so there's that. So he's 6'4", and Tom Hopper's 6'5". So not much of a discrepancy.
I love the comment on this though. Absolute cinema. I'm like, okay. That just poster gets me so hard. I don't know why. Sorry, that came out wrong. No, the poster doesn't get me hard. That's not what I meant to say. I meant to say this. It makes me laugh really hard. I should have better phrased my wording there. But John, speaking of getting hard, actually that's a bad transition. Supergirl.
Yeah. Millie Alcock. Woo!
I will not recover from this. But hey, Millie Alcock's Supergirl is filming right now, and we got a first look at the suit, a little bit of the prop vehicles that she's working with and where they're shooting, and then
can't wait to get the second copyright strike. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do this. I mean, well, it's not been taken down anywhere yet. So far I think we're in the clear here. But let's take a look. John, they're filming on this like blue screen set. We kind of looked at this a while ago. Maybe it was a week ago or something like that. So we've seen some of these vehicles before. Clearly that they've got them on wire, so they're doing some kind of stunt. And you're seeing there the suit. It's still kind of hard to tell because in between takes she's got a wrap on, which is not unusual.
It's not unusual to me. Anyway.
But this isn't the only look that we have got at this. So there's another look here. These are like drone cameras. You can see she's got a skirt. She's got long boots. Not much of a cape, but that's probably because they usually have like a mini cape, and then they'll like
No,
have a
usually
CGI cape.
Supergirl has a smaller cape
Oh, she
than
does. Well, it's kind of hard to
it
tell if
looks
she
like
has a
it
cape
goes
on at
down
all.
past her skirt, so it's not a small
Yeah.
and it looks like there's like a little bit of a yellow trim, which is also very
Okay.
Supergirl has worn that like yellow trim in the comics before,
Yeah.
so
Because I mean, I was gonna say that it might even be that instead of having a physical cape, they might just
maybe.
CGI it at the end. You know, we've seen that. Also, there were shots in Batman versus Superman when you see the behind the scenes. They had like a bit of the cape, so they have the shoulder
Yeah, a little
attachments.
bit. No,
But
they had
then
that for David Cornsweet as well.
comes right to yeah, you're right. And then yeah, we saw him like walking around with like what looked like a little bib,
But
except
that
on his
looks like a
back.
cape. That looks like an actual real flowing cape.
You think so?
So
I mean, are they really gonna go with that short of a cape? Because every time you've seen a live action Supergirl, they've gone with like the long cape because they're like, we want to make it look like the same thing as all the male superheroes. Like it feels like that was the motivation. But I guess
what is your
we'll see.
motivation?
Caleb saying, "Don't hurt us, Daddy." Warner Brothers, yes, please, Daddy. WB, don't hurt us. We got TC24 in the chat. Hello, TC24. He's also agreeing with you, saying he's pretty sure that it's just a short cape. Enterprising is like, these people might as well be CIA. I mean, you know, they're just probably flying a really small drone, and you know, unless these guys are interested in shooting down a drone or trying to trace down where the controller is for the drone, they're not going to take time out of their expensive shooting day to go take care of stuff like this. Besides, it's from far enough away that you're not really getting a very definitive look. I wonder, John, there's another character who's basically got like a axe of some kind, like the Stormbreaker that Thor has almost. Is that Jason Momoa, that other character, or is that just a stunt performer? What do you think that is? Oh, TC24 agreeing with me. Thank you.
I think that's just another performer. It doesn't look. He looks armored. He doesn't look like Lobo. So, and it looks like looks like he has pretty dark skin. I think he might be black, but you know, so I don't think that's Lobo.
Caleb is like, that's not what Caleb said. Caleb said enhance.
Enhance. Anyway.
Yes. Cue the X-Files music. Anyway. Just some geeky guy with a super chat. Thank you, just some geeky guy, for the amazing super chat.
To answer your call from before.
Yes, thank you. A little late on the trigger, but just some geeky guy asking, do you think Derek Cornsweet Superman will appear as a supporting character in Supergirl? I'd also like to see Mongol and Lobo as the main villains. John, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think we're gonna see all three of those?
I think Cornsweet might have like a cameo at the very beginning or the very end of the movie, one of those two. Maybe I could see the very beginning, like, oh hey, you're going on in this adventure, bye, or like she comes back down to earth, like, hi cousin, how are you doing today? That's my Superman impression. But I don't think he's going to be a major supporting character. I think he has like a cameo at best. And yes, I agree with what is that, Andy Samberg with a beard? I don't know who that's supposed to be.
That's supposed to be Bob Ross.
Also,
that's clearly Bob Ross, John. That's clearly Bob Ross.
I didn't see the afro. I just saw the beard. Anyway.
Okay, well, I'm telling you.
But it's but we already pretty much confirmed that Lobo is not going to have a big role in the movie. Even Jason Momoa said it on Jimmy Kimmel or whatever. He's like, it's her movie. I'm probably going to be in like, I have like a couple scenes. So I think he was like filming for like maybe a week. I think he's going to be in maybe like 15 minutes of the movie at most. So I don't think he's going to be a main villain. How, again, I need to read the book. I know I do, but it's Tom King. So there's that as well. But I think like Lobo, there's like a bounty hunter character, and in the original comic, and it was supposed to be Lobo, but they told him he couldn't use Lobo, so now they're using Lobo here. And that bounty hunter character wasn't in the movie or wasn't in the book for very long, so I can't imagine he would be here very long either. And then Crom of the Yellow Hills, he's pretty much the main villain because he kills this girl's dad, and then she, enlists Supergirl to help her, and they go off to find him. So Crom is pretty much the main villain. That's who at least was of the book. It's entirely possible he was like a fucking dirty henchman or whatever, and there's like a bigger villain, but I can't imagine that's what I can't imagine that's what they would do. But it's a shame Lenny isn't here because she wanted to look at the suit, and we finally have a look at the suit, and she's not here. I think
Yeah.
she
Well, Lex
permanently
was
got.
here.
I
Yeah.
think she got permanently upset by what we were saying like a month or so ago about Christopher Nolan not having British black actors for some reason, and then kind of just left. I hope she comes back though.
Elite Easy saying hopefully Tom King increased his role more for the movie. Either way, we're getting Lobo's live action debut. Can't wait. I don't think they'll water down Superman by having him do a cameo this early. I don't think it will water down Superman so much. Wow. Okay. I'm back. Yes, I don't think I think it's okay to have a Superman cameo in Supergirl. They've said that
I mean, there was a
another
fucking
project.
Iron Man cameo in The Incredible Hulk. Hello. That didn't hinder the movie or the movies by any means. So,
By the way, this image that I've got up on screen now, quickly though, it's just some geeky guy. I think Superman will be in the movie. He will have a cameo, and then Lobo for sure. Mongol, I'm not so sure about. But just some geeky guy. Thank you for the super chat. And then Super Blink was saying there were more photos posted by Unboxed PhD, and that the cape is actually long. And John, there you go. That's a pretty long ass cape right there. So it looks like for the action sequences, they just had the shorter version of the cape, so that when they're doing stunts on the wires,
and
the cape
Adam Sandler is
doesn't
gonna
get
come.
tangled with the wires. But okay, yeah, the meme from Adam Sandler. But John, we're getting a long cape. We're getting a long cape. We're getting a very comic accurate hairstyle. I don't really see the Superman logo on the back though, which is something different from the the S shield that Superman has on his cape. It doesn't look like Supergirl has that. So okay, Elite Easy, I will drink some water. I have some green water right here. It's my Green Lantern juice. That probably came out wrong too. They totally gave up on the Hulk after that movie though. Yeah, they did. They did. Her hair might be in the way. Yeah, you're right though. I'm kind of. I don't know. I feel like the logo would be further down the cape. No, Super Blink. Like, what do you think, John? What do you think? Do you think she's gonna have that S crest on the back?
I can kind of see it already. Like I could see the yellow. Like it's
Is that not just her hair? Like
it looks very bright yellow to me.
Okay.
Like that's a very bright yellow.
Could be, I suppose. Well, we could clearly see she's got red boots. Her hair definitely matches the comic accurate version.
So probably in the next like couple days, we're probably gonna get a full look of the suit because they're like, oh shit,
yeah,
oh god, they beat us to it, so we gotta post it online.
Facts. But you know what? Somebody posted an artist, a fan art actually that kind of looks similar to this. And they were talking about how, look, based on the set photos so far, it looks like it's closely resembling the character as drawn in the Woman of Tomorrow comics. And if that is true, then Job Hut's put together this fan art, which is a pretty close approximation of what we might see. You see the boots go well above the knees, so high knee boots. And then
high knee
skirt,
boots.
Okay, it's that time of day. But you know what I mean. But the skirt, like the length of the skirt, looks like it's gonna be pretty long too. There's not a lot of it's not a short skirt by any means. The logo, obviously, I think it's gonna be the same as the Superman logo. But then the cape also looks pretty accurate. We can't tell any of the other details so far from the images. I mean, she's at least in this image, they've drawn in like the collar that's similar to David Cornsweat's suit, and the way the cape sits on her shoulders also is kind of similar. But as far as like you were talking about how you don't want to see like the sleeves kind of go into the the fingers. Like I don't know what you call that, but like that level of detail, I don't think we're gonna get until we get an official look at the suit. But so far from these images, we can kind of tell. Yeah, long cape. It looks like they've been filming some action sequences here. Whether this is on Krypton, another alien planet, I guess we'll figure out. They're clearly on wires here, so it looks like they're doing some of their own stunts. Looks nice. And no, I did not say high knee boots, Caleb. I said high knee boots. Just 2 words. 3, I guess. Elite Easy saying, I like the classic shirt. I wish she had the white crop top and miniskirt from the 90s animated Superman. I appreciate the androgynous dark-haired Supergirl from The Flash. Androgynous, I wouldn't say so, but anyway, those are 2 good options as well. But I personally don't mind this version, John. Like this is obviously very closely aligned with the version that we're probably gonna get. That we do have in this Woman of Tomorrow comic book. So I guess they're staying accurate to the comic look, which is to be expected, given that James Gunn so far generally tends to swing pretty close to the comic, version. In fact, recently, I don't think if you have it on the show today, but I'll have to find the link for maybe tomorrow. Bilquis Evely posted some of her artwork that she worked on for this comic book that never made it into the comic, but she kind of found some sketches. And that they align with this suit as well pretty closely, so that's nice. And then John, just to kind of mention what you sent me while we were doing the show, somebody took the Superman animated series.
Yeah, I thought that was cool, so I'm like, all right, gotta show it off.
Made a poster for
the Average Bellman did it, so check it. But Average is an AVG Bellman. Check him out on Instagram. But very cool. Like even the watercolors look very much like the animated show, and you got the logo and you have the old styled lettering. I really like it, so I'm like, oh, let's share it. It's good, it's great.
Yeah,
bring in the views for his Instagram or something or whatever.
Hell yeah. It's we love good fan art. We always like to feature it. I mean, again, it's a good approximation of maybe the real thing, and given everything we've seen so far, I'm surprised that none of those photos quite give away the crest on the costume. So yeah. TC24. Caleb saying she looks more rebellious. Well, yeah. Elite Easy saying she's had short hair in the super suit. She was totally lang coded. What? She was basically cardio. Okay. I don't know what you mean by that, Elite Easy, but we got Steven dropping in the chat. Steven, you're a little late to the party, but thanks for stopping by. The Dark Knight is okay. You're calling yourself
Caleb. I want to see my fan art. I feel like that's like a euphemism for something inappropriate.
Yeah, I don't know
fan
if you
art.
want to see. Yeah, I don't think I'm interested.
We don't want to see that, Caleb. Nobody wants to see that, Caleb.
Yeah, nobody wants to see that. Well, guys, what do you think? I mean, again, this is fan art, but then we have been getting photos today. So you've got a photo of her from behind with the cape. There were videos of some stunt work they were doing. It's on I guess this is our first official look at Supergirl. This is what she looks like. They're clearly doing a lot of stunt work. So you got all the mats. The vehicles. I mean, is this the look of Krypton, or is this another alien planet? This
is another alien planet. They're not doing
shot a lot
Krypton
of
stuff.
military vehicles before, and this is kind of the same vibe. They obviously are building up that spaceship set somewhere as well that we saw a week or 2 ago. So they're in the thick of it, and it looks like we'll be getting more looks like these from Supergirl, from Lanterns. We were talking about it a few days ago. I can't wait. I can't wait to see. I hope somebody has a photo from the front. You got to imagine she would have turned in the direction of the camera at some point, and we got to look at the crest, at least maybe a blurry version of it that, then we can enhance to see a little bit more of. I'm sure the internet will do that, but we'll just keep an eye out and see what else comes out in the days and weeks to come. But John, your thoughts just overall, if you want to summarize, out of 5 stars, what are your thoughts on the Supergirl suit as of right now, based on what you have seen so far?
5 out of 5. Great stuff. The movie, I don't know. I don't trust it yet, but we'll see. We'll see. But that's a good looking suit.
Yeah, it is a good looking suit, and especially if this is the design that we were talking about, then I'm all for it. I love it. I love it. So far, I love it. Steven, we did talk about the con lineup today. We did that like pretty much at the top of the show. So if you want to be kind and rewind, you will see our conversation. John actually wasn't even on the show at that time. Well, actually, John came on the show while I was talking about it. Wait, that also came out wrong. Anyway, but yeah, John and I talked about the Cannes Film Festival right at the beginning. Caleb saying, I'm just talking about regular drawings. And Dan, don't act like you wouldn't want to see other fan art. I don't want to see your fan art again, like John said, Caleb. I don't know. It feels like you're gonna send us some inappropriate shit. Just some geeky guy with another super chat. Thank you, just some geeky guy, saying Gunn should direct a Superman Batman film based off the Public Enemy story, since there's a rumor Lex will run for POTUS at the end of Superman. Public Enemies, John, what do you think? Adapting that for live action?
I would say do something new with World's Finest instead of just adapting a story. It's not a bad story. It's okay. Like, it was already adapted into animated form, which is a decent movie. I preferred Superman Batman Apocalypse, which ironically introduced Supergirl. But I don't think he's going to be president of the United States. I don't think they're going to go that on the nose with it. But I don't agree with that. I don't think they should just like do something new. Like, if they're going to make a World's Finest movie, do something new with it, make it its own thing, maybe use elements of that, but like, don't adapt the story. That's what the animated stuff is for. The Rick James boots. I don't know what that even means.
Yeah, Elite Easy insisting is right out of Clueless of Buffy. Missed those days. Okay, all right. TC24 suggesting the World's Finest from the animated series is still the best version that he can think of if they want to adapt that story. So yeah, you can go either direction. Public Enemies is a fantastic comic book, and if they do adapt it, yeah, I mean, we would have to first introduce the Batman in this universe to do that. So I wouldn't mind seeing that myself. It just all gonna take time. James Gunn has said that he's working on prepping his next project that he's gonna direct. What that is, we have no idea. When he is gonna start working on it, we have no idea. He's obviously still working on all the production work behind Superman's marketing with the new trailer. He was working on the post-production for Peacemaker. So I don't think he has the bandwidth right now to start up a new project, but I'm sure when he starts up his next movie for DC, a Batman Superman crossover might be one of the ideas he considers. But yeah, just some geeky guy, thank you again for the super chat. I'm excited, dude. We're starting to get into that territory like we were last summer, where we were getting Superman photos like every day. I don't know how much of this movie they're gonna shoot in actual locations, but if we can get more inside looks like this, I'm all for it. This looks fantastic. And enterprising, yes. For Superman to have his own solo trilogy of movies, that would be the first time since the Christopher Reeves movies in the 70s and 80s. So I would love that too. I'm sure John would love it as well. It's been a very long time since we got that. It's going to depend on how well Superman does, though. If this Superman movie doesn't make even 500 million, then you can probably forget about a whole trilogy. But if it makes like 700, 800 million, if it gets to billion, for sure, you're going to get at least a sequel, if not a whole trilogy. And James Gunn would probably be the one doing all three movies. I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case. And yeah, Caleb, please do send appropriate artwork when you can. We will showcase it on the show. We have showcased Lex's artwork on here. You wouldn't be the first. We love fan art on the show. Rick James does have long boots, says Caleb. Okay, I see what you mean, guys. Yeah, knee-high boots. There we go. See? Knee-high. 2 words.
Knee-high.
Now you're just being racist. TC24 saying Bruce following Superman to Clark's apartment just cause he's Superman cheated with extra vision, so he was petty in my favorite Batman scene. You're talking about the animated show, okay. Enterprising saying I'd rather see Superman versus the Elite or the Authority, War World Saga, or Brainiac Invasion. Brainiac Invasion might happen. War World, they'll probably hold on for a while because we're probably getting that in the new Avengers movies, so they're not going to want to have that comparison. Like, oh yeah, you're copying Marvel, like, even though both comic book series have done something similar. So Superman versus the Authority might be something we get sooner because they are retooling that Authority movie, and that might include some Superman in there. So maybe that's possible. And Lex is back in the chat saying the suit is definitely tight fitting. Yes, it is. And you know what? Millie Alcock is in the best shape of her life. So it all adds up. And she's clearly doing some of her own stunts as well. So that looks fantastic. We were speculating earlier, is that Jason Momoa in the other suit? Is that, I mean, there's no way to tell. It's that the resolution of the footage is too low. But John, they're also gonna filming this stuff like out in the middle of daylight. They're not doing this on a soundstage. So I'm like, from a lighting perspective, it's not meant to look like it's nighttime or something. Like, I'm sure there will be color grading in post and stuff, but they're doing a lot more of it practically than I thought they would. Which is good to see.
Very cool.
Yeah. And yeah, Lead Easy, the Authority project, James Gunn and Peter Safran at that press event a few weeks ago said they're currently trying to rework it. They kind of put it on hold for a bit because a lot of the ideas got used up in Superman anyway. So they don't want that movie to feel repetitive or redundant. Like, they want to give it the proper amount of attention. And so they're just probably sitting on it for a while. And they've got so many other scripts, like the Batman script, Clayface, and all these other things that are still being worked on and added to. So it's not a high priority for them right now, but I'm sure we will get the Authority eventually. They did announce it, so it is officially going to happen. And unless we get told otherwise, we'll just have to wait until we get an update. Millie Alcock's birthday is tomorrow, Lex. Thank you for that. We will celebrate. We will wish Millie Alcock a happy birthday tomorrow. In fact, it's 12:02 a.m. on the East Coast. Happy birthday, Millie Alcock, playing Supergirl. So a wonderful day to you. She might even get the day off for that. So yeah. I mean,
and by the way, fun fact: Warworld, even though it's not like Battle World at all, Warworld predates Battle World by 4 years. So, because that's how it is. It's like Marvel does all these things first, and then once DC starts doing similar stuff, it's like they're copying. It's like, well, technically Marvel copied DC first with a lot of this stuff
in the comics. No, it's true. It goes both ways, and a lot of situations.
Like fucking Aquaman is a ripoff of Namor, like straight up.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. So it's not surprising, and but I'm just saying, like, people will make the superficial comparison, so that's why they probably will wait to do that. And also, there's no need to jump into a world situation straight away. They don't have many characters established right now. Like, you need probably 10 years of mythology to, at the very least, be able to do it in a way that feels like the way it did in the comics. So I don't think that's happening soon, but yeah, eventually, probably we'll get there. I'm sure James Gunn has that on his list of things he wants to do one day. Where the Cape saying, how we know she ain't rocking the crop top? Well, because if you see the footage, there's not. I don't see any evidence of it. That looks like a belt. It doesn't look like there's much navel gazing to be done here, honestly. See what I did there? No, but it doesn't look like that's a crop top at all. Well, that's the photo from behind. You could. It looks like it's the golden belt, John. Like, do you think there's a possibility she's got a crop top on that we just can't tell?
No, I think it might be the crest. In all honesty, maybe
on her back. I don't think that's on her.
Well, she's wearing the cape, isn't she?
Well, there she's
wearing the shorter cape for the stunt cape.
Yeah, for the stunt.
But it still goes to like her. Like,
almost her waist. No, but
wait. No, I see. Okay, I was looking at it fucking wrong. Okay, okay, I got it wrong. Yes, you're right. She's wearing a stunt cape. I thought it was. You can kind of see. So what I thought it was. I thought the stunt cape, which is that little bit, the yellow thing, and then her skirt was one full cape. That's what I thought it was. So it looks like that the belt is the golden belt, like the big golden belt.
You know what though?
Comic.
It's not even just the golden belt. This is probably a stunt harness. Like, they gotta like have all those wires somewhere. So
why would it be gold? Wouldn't it be like make more sense if it was like black?
It's probably
or something?
Because it's easier to paint out and replace, and you can kind of tell how the color gold looks in the lighting.
I don't know.
Reference.
I thought this was one full cape. It's not. she's wearing a skirt. I think she has the golden belt, and then she's wearing a stunt cape, which
Yeah.
is that like little tiny bit on her
Right, the
back.
tiny cape, yeah. Yeah, and TC24 saying, yeah, that looks like the belt straight out of the Woman of Tomorrow cover. Yeah. Lex saying, I wish the crest different. I wish there was no lines or rectangular belt buckles or collar. Well, again, we don't really know that for sure. Like what we were showing earlier, the artwork is like an artist's interpretation. That's not really what's in the images from the set itself. This is kind of similar. It's a good amalgamation of what you see in the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow comic book versus what we have speculated and also so far seen in the movie behind the scenes images. So this isn't the authoritative version of the suit. It's our closest approximation right now based on what we know. Oh, you mean the David Korn sweatsuit, Lex? Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, it's you have what you have right now. You know, like it's until it changes, and unfortunately, that's what you're stuck with. And it might grow on you. You never know. Once the movie comes out, a lot of these details, quite frankly, dude, once you start watching the movie and you're invested in the film, you're gonna forget about like these details after like the first 15-20 minutes. Like I don't think we're gonna be worrying about like, oh, I wish the collar wasn't there and stuff. Yeah, sure, it would be great, but does it really make that big of a difference? It's not like you're wearing the suit at the end of the day. So I understand that we like things a certain way, but you know, James Gunn is the man in charge here, so he made his choices and hopefully for the best. And you know, it's fine if it doesn't work out well, if it looks bad in the movie. I mean, the trailer we have seen so far doesn't look all that bad, so I can't imagine it's gonna look any worse or any better than it does in the trailers. But we'll have to wait and see. Superman had just black lines for his set leaks. I think that's just her belt. It could be. Yeah, you're right. It could be. I mean, it's very possible. Oh wait, hold on, John. Hold on 1 second. There's a shot here where she kind of turns. Ooh, right there. There's a little peak. You can see the crest. It's this little dot. So I mean, and that's the belt, that's the skirt, and she has the crest.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, because of how far away this is from, it's hard to tell
Right.
like the specific design of the crest, but I don't know. That's about the closest we're gonna get. Let me go back to that shot. Like there, you get them. You can't really tell. Again, enhance if we could, we would, but it's hard to tell. Enterprising saying, I bet Supergirl will meet up with the Legion of Superheroes in a future movie, assuming the film's success. Yeah, we hope so. We talked about this like months ago when we were talking about what we'd like to see the Legion of Superheroes in the DCU. Maybe we'll just have to wait. That's not happening anytime soon though. Yeah. And Lex saying she has a redesign of the Superman suit with a bigger crest. Well, I mean, Lex, if you want to send that over to us, DM us. We'll take a look at it. Caleb saying, I think we'll get the costume reveal soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I said around April, so April, May. So I can imagine that like James Gunn, all right, you forced my hand. All right, I'm not gonna get sleep again for today. Let me send you the suit.
Dude, they probably already have promotional images or some kind of image that they can throw out there. It's also when you're doing that for marketing purposes, that's to go through a bunch of, you know, people who have to sign off on it. They have to do a lot of iterations. Then you got to make sure it's posted everywhere. I don't think James Gunn is the one who's personally posting things across all 17 of his social media profiles all the time. So like there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes for them to even just put out one image, and even if it's just like one official image or behind the scenes look at the set photo, like, you know, from official set photos. But whenever that is, hopefully soon, given that this dropped today. I know there was a photo that this same account put up a few days ago that got taken down, so maybe that was a closer look that they didn't allow to stick around. This, on the other hand, they have, because again, it doesn't give away all the important details other than, you know, some of the brief outlines. Like you could tell there's a skirt, the boots go high above the knees, and you could tell that she's got a cape. The crest obviously is there, but we can't really see it in a lot of detail. So yeah, James Gunn is an insomniac, so are we. And speaking of John, I think that should probably bring our show today to a close. Another fantastic edition of DCU Daily. Of course, we had all the news from the world.
Say that again.
Hollywood. Another fantastic edition of DCU Daily.
I don't know. That's pretty super, man.
Yeah, I feel fantastic. All right. Well, yeah, if you know, you know, guys. From yesterday's show, it's like I will be literally Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at my TV, well, at the movie screen. If I go to see Superman this summer and that happens, I'm gonna like toss my popcorn in the air and be like, "I knew it!" And then I'll be going to Fantastic Four 2 weeks later and doing like, they better pay up because DC, the ball is, but they put the ball in their court. So, yeah, I feel quite Superman. Yeah, yep. There you go.
I don't know. Now I'm feeling real super, girl.
Hey, and Liz may or may not be back on the show tomorrow. Speaking of, so we'll have to just wait and see. It's a little bit of a TBD situation right now. She was almost on today's show, but something came up.
Yeah,
but,
something came up.
yeah.
Unfortunately, you just got our ugly mugs. So sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, Liz might be back tomorrow to end the week on a high note. Until then, wow, John's already gone. Oh, hey, he's back.
Sorry.
Okay.
I noticed that I was like very like wipey, so I was like, all right, let me clean my thing a bit.
Well, guys, we feel fantastic for you, and we hope that John, you are have a super night for yourself, man. I couldn't combine the words, but I'll get there eventually. And on that note, I think we're gonna wrap it up for today. Supergirl, we have our first look. You could check a lot of boxes on what the suit has and doesn't have. The details will come soon, and I'm sure it might be as soon as tomorrow, if not next week. So we'll keep an eye out. Until tomorrow, then, John, as always, thank you so much for and everybody in the chat, from Caleb to Morkatna to Manolo to Lex to TC24, Enterprising, Elite Easy E. Live long and prosper, Enterprising. I will and have always been your friend. Yes, we are your friend.
Why you got to bring up that scene though? Why couldn't you just say live long and prosper? Why couldn't you bring up like the fucking saddest scene ever put that film? Fuck you, man.
Yeah, dude, I still sob over that. Also, Nelson in the chat. I mentioned Morkatna earlier. Hosea was here. Enterprising as always. Right Dude was here as well. Caleb always in the chat. I feel like I've said your name multiple times. Antonio, I wonder where the Watcher is these days. Maybe he's watching somewhere. But guys, let us know in the comments.
Whatever happened to Temple? Whatever happened to him? Whatever happened to Lenny? Come on, guys.
Whatever happened to Temple? I don't know. I don't know what happened to Temple. It's a good question. TC24, Super Blink, everybody in the chat. Just Some Geeky Guy, thank you so much for your super chats. As always, we really appreciate it. Literally, that pays John's salary, so we do appreciate that. But yeah, we will see you another episode of DCU Daily tomorrow. Until then, go check out more of these leaks for yourself online. They're out there. And then, if you have any comments, anything to add to the conversation, get in the comments down below. We will do a Q&A session tomorrow. We'll bring your comments. We've been collecting them from the week, so we will definitely answer your questions, address your comments, and fan theories. Until then, John, it's been another fantastic, super amazing show. And we'll see you next time on another episode of DCU Daily.
Fantastic Four nipples.
That poster does look a little erotic.